I agree. I think Paquito should be banned. It's not like it's prioritized by Onyx in a major way. And it's obviously not only a potential flex to gold lane, which we've seen that again, but it's just too powerful. And when you combine that with the Cho and the Barats, they have two literal solo ISO ults and moments to displace members on Onyx. And that's exactly what you don't want. You want to play steady, you want to play Onyx way. And so how do you do that? You eliminate the things that can disrupt you. And I feel like we should see not just a Selena ban, guys. I feel like Cho should be banned second phase if possible, and Paquito.
Or pick it up early, because again, Aurora, their draft always have good gap closers. So I feel like Onyx shouldn't be super, I would say, enthusiastic to have heroes that are long range, because somehow, some way, Aurora will find a way to close the gap.
And Onyx should take advantage of this blue side, because I think both of them really favor blue side, but they banned the Barats instead. So
Atlas is up.
Okay, it's still gonna be Hirara for Onyx, but as you mentioned, the Atlas, even the Belleric, and that Paquito is still open.
What did they want from this? Are they trying to open up Paquito early? I mean,
I feel like for Aurora, because they battled the Valentina, they should be picking up the Atlas here. Atlas +1. The +1 is going to be the big question. I feel like it's not a bad time to pick up a Paquito.
Because he could... Oh, you're...
Oh, the Uranus.
Wait.
Uranus
and Belleric. Okay. That's interesting.
Oh, but here's the thing. Uranus and Belleric are very high sustained heroes. So in terms of marksman, I can see the carry doing quite well here.
Yeah, but are they baiting Onyx just to pick up the carry? Because if so, then they will no longer have a choice of a Paquito Gold. And that's something that Aurora can eventually consider still over to their side. So Onyx have to be very particular about their choices here, because the carry really looks good, but you also don't know what other range options would come out from Aurora. You don't know what Rosa's playing in mid just yet. So they will go for it, Esmeralda. This is looking like a dead lane in the EXP, at least for the matchup. The gold ring is really what matters at this point.
We also saw the Atlas picked up, and it did not work. It was Vamos trying to do a lot with the Atlas, and they're actually going to go away from it. Zushin, and then the Rafaela right back. We see you, buddy.
Okay, Onyx, this is a problem. They don't have enough bans to take out early game junglers. I feel like maybe they can take out Nolan, because I feel like Nolan with the Belleric and the Rafa, I think is just a bit too much. That was a very fast Rafa pick, and I feel like it's going to be good to deal with all three members of Onyx here. Just the slowdown by itself, speeding up the Uranus, he's going to stick onto them. And here's the thing, they won't have enough damage early game to potentially deal with the Uranus.
Yeah, because you're already seeing the Juicin, that's that. But also it's just mostly the Juicin and Hirara, because if you're looking at them and the possibility of them scaling, then you might have to have another source for mid to late game damage, which I feel is something that's going to be very tough for Onyx, because the rotations are looking a bit too fast for Aurora. You're already expecting for them to pick up an early to mid game jungler as well. At least the Paquito's not there, but either way, I think it works out for Aurora. They'll have late game heroes as options later on.
Yeah. I feel like Onyx need to pick something up like a Hylos, something that can slow down Aurora here, because they're looking very fast with this Rafaela. Because Cho would have been the best option, but again, Cho gets banned out. Aurora has one more ban here, and I feel like Onyx should ban out something like the Nolan. But the problem is, we just don't know. Maybe there is a surprise pick coming in the jungle later on. They might still force a link for all we know.
But at the same time, if they go Hylos, that's pretty much the same idea we saw in game number 1, where they're just going to play slow. They're going to be a lot more passive than we want them to be. And Aurora, they've been doing such a great job at baiting Onyx into drafting these kinds of patterns.
Yep. They've been fantastic with it. This has been a draft masterclass so far from Aurora yet again. You look at just those 3 heroes at the front on Aurora's side, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be an early game problem. And if you're looking at Pagu's pick here, but more importantly, the response that Onyx can have after the hair is shown, there's got to be a win condition on the side lanes. That's the issue that Onyx have faced. They have not been able to do their thing and get to late game. They have to figure that out here.
I feel they need a carry here.
Yeah.
They just need a carry.
Okay, I'm also looking at what Kiboy could actually pick up, because I feel like AoE would really matter here if they want to slow things down. Maybe. Minotaur is a great option. I was thinking of that. And you also have Sustain. So if Aurora actually go in for the dives, then they might have ways to last a bit more longer in the team fights. And if it's sustained team fights you're looking at, yes, you have the Esmeralda, but what is going to be the carry?
I really feel like Minotaur carry is going to be a good enough pick. Or Atlas is still open. It's just the gold lane here. I wonder if they want to go for a Brody. I don't think Brody is a good shot. Ranger is worse though, I think.
The only reason why I was iffy about the Atlas is because I feel like at this point in the draft, you're going to settle with pickoffs.
Rafa also counters the Atlas and Lucas.
Unique hero.
Lucas in the jungle. Or is this going to be like Lucas EXP and then Uranus jungle?
This is tough. This is tough.
I can see Uranus jungle as well. I think it is Uranus jungle. Oh wait, no, they change.
Wait.
All right, Lucas jungle then. All right, so
Uranus on the EXP.
I think Onyx, they might have overthink this because Atlas kind of gets countered by the Rafa with the speed up and slow down.
Yeah.
The Granger, I think, is just because his Kelra's comfort. I don't think it's going to be good enough, though. You can't really burst down Aurora.
And even if you do, there's a passive that Rafaela can utilize to just bring them back in action. So this is looking like a really good game for Aurora, honestly.
It feels like more of the same. The early game problem. Don't know if Onyx have found a solution, but this is the time to test their theories because they are only a few games away from getting knocked out. Aurora trying to go 2-0 up here over Onyx.
And the game begins. So far, the statement has been set by Aurora. Hey, we've already taken game number 1, and we're still going to be whipping out some new tech against Onyx. And look at this. Once again, we do see the Rafaela. This time paired up with 2 tanky boys, a particular Leonin who scales up very, very quickly and very, very deadly. And of course, the man himself, Lucas.
Well, I love this. Again, some unique heroes come through. Leave it up to Aurora Gaming and Coach Midnight to make this happen. I remember specifically, I think it was LaFell that was asking about the Lucas jungle even back in the wild cards to going through. Well, finally it comes out in the knockouts. You can see that battle in the XP lane that we're so used to seeing. Of course, Lunar is going to struggle a bit there with that Esmeralda, but again, the idea here, the theory behind this draft from Aurora is you've got so much speed to work with, so much sustainability, the potential to bring someone back. Mind you, it's flying clouds as well. So that's a whole nother thing too. Just how quick Aurora can get back into the fights that Onyx is going to have to kind of keep notion of, because again, when you're getting all these heals through and you're this tanky for Aurora, you can't overstay if you're Onyx, and that might be one of the biggest problems for them.
I mean, let's not forget, again, most people tend to kind of lean away from Lucas because he's so ability driven, and his ult, again, you can wait for the full duration where you can get into these fights like right now and see whether you can start building enough charge to maximize it as soon as you get it. And that's the issue, right? It's going to be a matter of spacing for both sides. You can see that even Sans has opted not to go for Wilderness Blessing and instead pull yourself together to make sure that he can flicker out of the way in case things get really, really dangerous, which I would assume will, as we see Lunar, he is having a tough time in this lane.
Yeah, they got to put pressure somewhere, and right now that's going to be on the Uranus up there in that XP lane for Lunar. Turtle's up though, so right now Onyx has favor to go ahead and get in position if they can. Keyboy doesn't have level 4 yet. He's given the information where TNZ is though, so that gives Kyrie a chance to go ahead and secure his buff, and then we'll see if this breaks out into a fight. A response though, they know Keyboy's here. Siggy Bomb rotating up to allow this buff to be secured, but the fight for the Turtles are already going to start up, but it's less than half health. Secured up by Kyrie. Let's see if they disengage here. Pagu too low, so objective secure for Onyx.
Oh, that's a bit of a waste here, and honestly, a pretty huge win because now Kelra at least gets some gold shielding here just to get a little bit of a lead against Sigabom at this point of time, and not to mention that I think that Onyx also recognized that, hey, we got to be careful. We cannot underestimate this Lucas. There's a very good chance that he can just power through a lot of our abilities, even if they do have the Fatal Links here. Keep in mind, anti-CC is going to be a big, big mechanic here for Tien. Oh, this is dangerous. Wait a second.
Oh, Pagu.
I don't know if they want to keep on doing this, but Onyx made the smart choice but to back away.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you can still say, Pagu, that wasn't a green camp. You know, that was a buff that went over in the hands there of Kyrie, but still kind of trying to maintain this jungle. Skypiercer is picked up by Kelra. That's kind of what we were thinking with that Granger being picked up here. Again, it is a comfort pick, but also if you can start to build those stacks for Kelra, obviously that's really going to help. And he has to play at range against this kind of lineup here that Aurora Gaming has. So off to a pretty steady start for Onyx, building up already a nice little lead.
And they don't mind not interacting in these early stages of the game until everybody's got their ultimates and they find the right position to do so. And I think as long as Aurora recognize this, hey, we need to fight on our terms and only our terms, there's a lot of things in the early game that actually don't matter.
Here in the mid lane, this is going to matter. Keyboy fallen. First blood to the hands of Sigiboom. What a rotate here through.
It's not over. It's not over.
Oh, Lunar's going to get thrown around. TNZ, though, they're on this side. He wants this purple buff if he can take it from Kyrie. This is a bit of a risk, but they're going to go for it anyway. Loopy on this offside goes in with a falling Star Moon, able to find two. Pushes them back, but again, they just don't have that follow-up damage just yet. They'll bring back Lunar. Lunar might try to split things up, just sacrificing himself to keep the rest of Aurora up as Lutfi will take Lunar down.
Okay. At least he gives that kill over to Lutfi instead of Kelra at this stage of the game. But for now, you can see that Aurora, they can kind of fight forever. And Onyx also recognized that. Now, at least first item's already done. Turtle goes into the hands of Onyx. This is going great for them, but it's an ever-moving pendulum. Now, Sigiboom gets a catch up back on Gold. Gold here, he's got a kill in hand, but now that he's got the extra plating as well, he should finally have a slight lead against Kelra.
Okay. Didn't have to pop the Purify, just dropped down the Zaman Force, but yeah, as you mentioned, he got a lot of the extra gold off that turret. That's kind of what Sigiboom needed, but again, he did get that first kill too. He knows the Zaman Force is down. Kelra will go in! A quick kill. The killer instinct for him, knowing Zaman Force wasn't available. Makes a move, and now bottom side still gonna break out. TNZ, Fatal Links into it, can't escape, and Pagu gonna be next. Talk about value for your Sky Piercer for Kelra.
Great knowledge from Kelra. He understood what the assignment was. Hey, no Zaman Force, you don't have a flicker, you can't run away from me, and I love it. If you want to just sit underneath their turret, I can harass you for days without anything left. I think at this point, Kelra is gonna be a much bigger problem to Aurora now that the game plan is starting to fall apart. Luckily for Sigiboom, he doesn't lose too much here because they still have the passive from Rosa to get the revives down. But Kelra, now building up on these Sky Piercer stacks, they need to cut it in half at some point in the game.
Yeah, you know when that setup happens and you don't have the Zaman Force available for Sigiboom, Onyx will take advantage of that. So a really good decision there. Pagu obviously need to pick up a little more defensiveness, gets a Radiant Armor locked in now for him, but it's just, again, Onyx building up on this lead very early on. It's going to be great for them. Turret going down up top side. It looks like Sigiboom should be able to get that one, but now Lunar could possibly be in trouble. The rest of the teams here, though, is tanking up, picks up a Dominance Ice, but this Turtle is up. Are we going to see 3 for 3 for Onyx in the Turtle department?
Probably. They're going to have to contest this, I suppose, but the lead isn't looking too good. And I think the real question is whether or not Kelra is going to be here for the fight. And it looks like he is. They've already taken the tier 1s on both sides, both, again, losing lanes for Aurora at this stage, considering everything that has happened. But if they can find the opening, and here comes Lunar.
Yep, they're going to go for it. Lunar just blasted down, though. Has to pop the Consecration. TNZ looking for his own opening. Wrath the Dryad locks down Keyboy. They get thrown out by the Lantern, and Loopy's gone. Kelra flickering defensively. They're going to fight it out. Kyrie able to get the Turtle. Taking out Pagu, too. It's a trade. And now with the speed, they're able to get some distance here for Aurora Gaming. They're going to go ahead and respawn, revitalize Pagu back up. They lost the objective fight, but it looks like Aurora still willing to take these fights.
That was beautiful stuff. Like, Lunar got a lot out of Onyx. Sans even using his ult as well, making sure that they got basically everything down. Kelra trying his best, but Pagu switches the role with Lunar to get right in front of Kelra's face to make sure that nobody else needs to die here. If one person dies, that's totally fine. 2 people, too much.
Ooh, Malefic Roar now picked up too. Again, a final, Fatal Links, instant kill. Eventually, you're not going to be able to just keep respawning Pagu now. Whoa. Again, Sans up here in the front of it all. Rosa trying to get away too. This is a messy fight in between 2 turrets as they back off. Meanwhile, up top, Sigiboom, he's been dealing with a lot of pressure on this Harith. I mean, Onyx now is not letting up in the jungle.
Yeah, it's really tough for TNZ at this stage. Unfortunately for TNZ, in this matchup against Kyrie, on Hirara, I don't think it's very easy because unfortunately for TNZ, a lot of Lucas's moveset, it's one-dimensional. You don't have a way to kind of delay the timings of it. You don't have a way to kind of come from different angles. It's very straightforward. I run you down. I'm pushing you back either into my team or away from my team. but Hirara is so different, especially with the iframes as well. Oh, this could be a punish.
Pago could be in trouble again. Doesn't have a flicker available. The rest of the team has to help support him up.
Oh, no.
They're going to throw themselves into the fight. Lunar trying to get away. And now Pago on the disengage too. Loopy up in the front side. They call it off though. They don't want to overcommit to this. They see the purple buff is up. They're going to put some pressure here. Kyrie goes in, and TNZ doesn't have the purple.
Yep, but that means that Kyrie doesn't have retribution. So far, this could be a forced fight here. They know that Keyboy doesn't have the Fatal Link, so they have a very short window to try and punish. But so far, Lunar has not been able to open up the map convincingly because of the fact that he's been looted.
Oh, no. Flicker forward, Wrath the Dryad, Lunar taking some shots, the Rapsy shots. Kelra gets a kill. Sky Piercer prop. TNZ gonna follow by Kyrie's hand and looking up to load up Rosa. A double for Kelra. They ignore the Lord. They go for Pago. Pago, where's the tree to run here, man? Being chased down by Sans and Kelra. Couple shots of the Rhapsody, and boom, another.
Man, Sans and Kelra are playing out of their minds right now. Sans, hyper-aggressive, your really big punishes on TNZ, making sure, like, even though TNZ has anti-CC, doesn't necessarily mean he's safe, right? He still needs Rosa to bail them with the extra movement speed to help close that distance, because that's Lucas's biggest problem, right? TNZ jumps into the middle of this fight, tries to make something happen by pushing Lutfi out of the way, but unfortunately, the entire time, Sans is just building up the butterfly stacks on top of him. Rosa can try and bail him out of there, but once you are committed to the lightning, to the quick step, it's just too much to handle. And I think they just need to take a breath here. Think about it for a moment. So far, their main win condition is going to be Sigamum. The early game is done for Aurora.
Yeah, this is tough too, because meanwhile, when all that happened, there was a great kind of split push happening with Onyx. You know, Loopy taking out that top turret, that defense shield. You can see it here in the mid too, being down. Max stacks here for Kelra. Just so much value on this Granger. It's comfort for a reason, and now they're knocking on the base turrets of Aurora Gaming as the mid turret falls. Lord makes its way down bot. Lunar, half health already. Even on this Uranus, it's going to pop the Consecrate. All turrets are going to be stripped out of the base of Aurora Gaming. But now with Onyx, a 10,000 gold lead. They dealt with this in game one, and now it's their turn. Keyboy looking for an opening here. Lord's going to be worked on. Keyboy jumps on in. Final. Oh, Fatal Links comes through on 3. Still on the defense too. They got to hold it together. Kelra firing off the backside. He's got the space to work with. Siggy Boom. All the shields in the world. They got to go heal back up. But the crystals are going to be locked on. TNZ up on the front side. Kelra gets another. Make it a triple. Can he get the Maniac? They line it up. What a way to take game 2 for Onyx.
A convincing win for Onyx. Sans, man. Gilak Sans is back. And not to mention, every side laner was winning. Kelra was winning. Lutfi won right at level 1. And I think a lot of this just boils down to, man, our laning phase kind of sucked. And what we need to fix here in the draft is to make sure one of these lanes need to win. And if it's going to be Sigaboom's lane, they better make sure that he has Flicker rather than the Purify. And that's something that you can't really control, especially since half of those spells are dedicated to this Atlas.
Yeah. And, you know, just as we saw how Aurora made things work for them in game 1, especially with the draft that they brought, this one stopped in its tracks. It's nice to see the Lucas, you know, it's nice to see a new hero come to play, but it just didn't work, Gideon. You know, this was a struggle from the start to the finish. Onyx really put the pressure on just the jungle, but then the rest of the map. I mean, it was really hard for TNZ to even secure his buffs that he needed and everything else, but also just really good positioning and fighting from Kelra here and the rest of the Onyx squad, because again, you look at all the room Kelra has here in these highlights. He has all the space to work with, and Sans was so good at playing that Jushin, bringing them back with the Lantern, bringing them, utilizing the beacon if he had it to. But I mean, look at this. Even in this, Kelra has all the space in the world to move here.
Yeah, it's just so difficult. Hopefully they figure it out here. We're going to be throwing it over to break it down even more with Rain Day and the boys, of course, Brigida as well.
Thank you so much. I mean, this was the gold standard in action. Gideon and Nice. So you guys didn't have too long of a cast on that one either. It's been quick, decisive games on both sides of it. And now Brig and LaFell, or maybe I should call you both the boys. How are we feeling?
She's our boy, man.
Yeah.
You're one of the boys, Brig.
I can
We're Lagada.
accept that. Lagada? Do you approve of that thing?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Resale, whatever.
Yeah, it's your call now, right?
Yeah, no,
Or
I don't
LB
think so.
were pounds.
Let's keep workshopping, and then we'll figure it out. Like Onik as well, who kept workshopping, and then they figured it out. I think this was a really great response. I feel like this is the chance that they needed. They took it. They finally answered back to Aurora's early game, and they punched them right back. And now Aurora, your move.
Yeah. The Rafaela coming out was something that really I thought was going to be terrifying, was especially terrifying for Onyx and their potential early game. But it was very visible in that game, also mentioned by the casters throughout the game. They won out big on their laning phase, and that's what mattered the most. That's what prevented Aurora from actually maximizing the capabilities of this lineup. Because honestly, on paper, Rafaela, Lucas seem really scary.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is one of those situations where, especially Kelra, can argue for a raise, be like, did you see my performance? Because honestly, this is, I would say, Briggs, is all the players. Because this is kind of like them, you know what? I spit on your draft. Screw the draft. As long as I'm better, I'm good.
They were better.
Dude, I'll show later during that thing where you hold the mic. Like, this is legit. Just like, I'm better than you. That's it. That's why I won.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but I think that is selling it too short, because I agree that that's the case, but they weren't able to do that in game one because Aurora had positioned themselves so well. What went wrong in this one? I mean, how did they get to the point where it's like, yeah, let's have an even fight and I can just show them better?
They don't have Paquito. Right?
Really? Do you think that's that important?
Because Sigiboom lost that lane hard.
That's
and
true.
then we saw Lunar losing his lane hard. That's
right.
The big difference. And we talked about this in the previous one where like Aurora has been winning because they side lanes keep on winning.
Yeah.
Look what happens when they lose.
Yeah, and I think you see how that was the plan, the idea that they went from the start when they drafted this lineup, because even the execution tells you that they just really want to keep invading, they really want to keep fighting, because that's what their lineup is really strong. In terms of, that's where their lineup's really strong. It's in terms of fighting, it's in terms of just out-sustaining, always getting back in the fights, because again, you have a Rafaela, you're on flying clouds, but also it's because of your mostly fighter lineup. But you don't really get to see them get to that point where you feel like they just rather would not, or Onyx would rather not fight against them, because they actually had the damage to deal with them. Kelra stacking on those Sky Piercer stacks early on did not allow for Aurora to play the game that they wanted.
That could be the difference. They're not expecting that. LaFell, break down what you saw Onyx respond here in game two.
Very elegant in the way that you grab the mic. So honestly, like, we're not going to be looking much at the draft here, because it really is on that execution, because I just want to show two big things here, right? Look at this. This is level 1 Lunar. Again, could you like lower it a bit? Just okay, thank you. Like, Lunar is level 1 and then Loopy is level 2. You guys didn't catch it, but she just put it like so high. Anyways, level 1, level 2. This is already quite a big win, because again, the reason why we see Aurora doing well in game number 1, they got the Barats. Barats wins the lane quite hard. Now Lunar is getting bullied a bit, and this is also why I want to say that Kelra deserves a pay raise. He deserves a bonus, because look at the situation here. I mean, honestly, because he does have the flicker, so he is a little bit more brave to go for this trade. But look at this 1v1, straight up 1v1, going up against Sigibum, and then he dies. And then look at the state of the minions as well. Even the gold card is almost dying. So there's a lot of gold on the table There's a lot of gold on the table that's being denied here by Onyx. And then when we go into the team fights, just like what Gideon said, we got to look at Suns, because Suns is honestly destroying the composition of what Aurora is trying to do. And what Aurora is trying to do, all right, Aurora is trying to do is that they have 1 or 2 dedicated map openers. And this one is going to be Lunar. And every single time, I'm just showing you one clip, but Suns multiple times pick up the front line of the team. And then look at how all the while, Kelra in the back, he has free range to keep on hitting, because look at all the HP being brought down by the rest of Onyx here. And then all the while, just look at Kelra. Kelra is just waiting patiently. He just wants that final hit. And with the Sky Piercer, that's kind of all you need. Look at the positions here. Look at how Lunar is gonna get targeted, and then later on, oh, I'm colorblind, I can't see this.
He gets chunked right there.
Yeah, he gets chunked a lot, and this just shows that both teams here Reindeer as well as Brigida, they are very high octane kind of teams.
Yeah.
If you get a 1,000 gold lead in the early game for both Onyx as well as Aurora, it's life-changing.
Yeah, I gotta say,
Life-changing.
you see it, because it's both Sans and Kelra. They're very willing to just go for the front lines. It was highlighted earlier. Sans was lifting whoever just shows up front, and Kelra being a bit too free, not afraid of trying to go for these heroes first because the damage was a bit too much. I particularly observed that during that one sequence you put there, highlight there, because I think that's where you kind of know that Onyx have already got the game.
6-0 in terms of his overall stats, but his difference in game one was really
12-0.
the moment. 6-0 in the moment of that fight. It ended up 12-0, you're right. It ended up tripling almost his damage there, a little bit over 2.2 times from game one to game two, Brigida. This is the gold standard that we were looking for.
Yeah, it's a complete opposite of what you saw from him in game number one, where again, the matchup was clearly a lot more difficult to execute. So I feel like it's a similar situation that Aurora experienced this time. You kind of thought that they were actually going to have the advantage, granted that they had such a promising lineup synergy-wise. They had all the mobility in the world. They had all the timings in the world. But once they lost on the sides, that changed the outcome drastically, because you could not really rely on the mid trio to just pull off the idea of the draft alone.
It's been interesting because now where do we see the focus shift? It could be the mid that starts to become a little bit more important on the matchup. It's kind of been, I don't know, taken not for granted, but we've focused so much on the side lanes that where do you get your advantage now if Onyx have an answer for that?
Honestly, I feel like both coaches have been doing quite a good job on getting drafts that is very serviceable by the teams. Right now, it really is just personal mechanics, right? Between Siki Boom going up against Kelra. Siki Boom, can you beat Kelra? If you beat Kelra, we win the game. If you lose against Kelra, Onyx will win the game. So I feel like, yes, the coaches have to get lane-winning matchups for all the side lanes, but then Kelra just showed, like, if he's better, he's just better.
You know, I like that too, because sometimes when you get to a position like this and anything at a high level, everyone's about as good as everybody else. I mean, there's differences, right? There's moments of who steps up, who's a little bit better under pressure. But you just want to get yourself to a position where the players can decide the match based on how they play. They're not losing out the gate with their draft. So overall, it seems like Onyx and Aurora Gaming, they both set their teams up to win. We'll see what happens in game three. Before we do that, though, I want to send you to a little bit of a reminder about some new stuff going on with Mobile Legends Adventure. Welcome back. The Indonesian powerhouses of Onyx just take a win over Turkey's representative Aurora Gaming. Big stakes on the line because Indonesia's last hope is basically going up against where the M Series will be hosted, which is in Istanbul. Both teams fighting to have a chance, not only in the end of this series year for MSC and MLBB, but also for this moment right now. And it is up to this game three to see who's going to take the lead. Rain Day, Brigida, Lafell. Guys, we have a couple minutes before the draft starts again. I mentioned Indonesia. I want to hit on that even harder because it's 2019 they did it. 2023 they did it. It's 3 years apart. Can they do it again? Are they destined for this? We know that they are watching.
Yeah.
And this is a great start in game 2.
And it's not just Indonesia, I feel like. Onyx as an organization and this lineup that you're looking at right now, apart from a couple changes here and there, have always been so close. They've had multiple instances in the past wherein their international runs have been great. They've made it even all the way to grand finals. I think that was also a couple years back. One of the most significant ones being, I believe, M5, where they were just one win away, literally in the grand finals, and they had a very unfortunate loss against T-Falcons, that we also have right now. So who knows?
I even remember part of the draft. They have the Boxy as well as the Eve. Yeah, that's the Eve just have some kind of curse
when it's best of 7.
Oh yeah. Well, best of 5 here means that this is a decisive blow. This is basically the end of the best of 3. We know they lost to a best of 3, but it did go down to 3. This is a repeat not just of that matchup, but of how that matchup went, where there was a response from Onyx. It was Aurora who would finish it off and end up in that higher upper bracket spot. But now all's fair in love and war. We're right back. It's one game that separates who's taking the lead, except there's still another chance to respond, Lefel. So I'll question to you, what is Aurora's response here now that Onyx seem to have figured them out yet again?
I feel like they try to get the Paquito as fast as possible because, again, Onyx has proven both times now, the first time they met and then the second time, is that they can fight fire with fire. Like, if you want to play early game, we also can play early game. They're from Indonesia. Indonesia is known as a very chaotic, very fight-heavy region. They love drafts that require no items for you to really function. So I feel like Aurora has brought back Onyx to their roots of saying that just keep on fighting. Whatever happens, happens. Just trust your mechanics. And that's what they did, and that's how they won. So going back to what you guys said in the second draft, you got to go back to your own identity. So Aurora kind of pushed them to go back to their identity, and now it works out well.
But wasn't that Aurora's identity too, though? It was, I guess, maybe a bit too much of their identity.
Who has the stronger identity?
Okay, that's the
Brigitte.
Okay.
Do you have a strong identity?
Maybe.
All right.
We find out here, though, who has the stronger identity between these two. Because the Paquito is still open. We mentioned it. I honestly would rather not see it because it just gives over so much advantage. But let's see if Onyx would rather let it open.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question that Aurora now are asking Onyx. Do you want to give us Paquito? And I don't know if it would be a first pick. It would be an okay first pick because you'd still wonder, is this Siggy Boom going to grab it? Or is it going to be something that Lunar plays in the EXP lane? Or could it even be something TNZ plays in the jungle?
I feel like either Barats or Paquito is going to be pretty good here because, again, both win the lane, and then that's kind of like what you need, right? Step 1, win lane. Step 2, win the game. And then they have Freya, and Freya can flex between EXP and gold.
Oh my, we missed this. Yeah,
because she's always banned, though. You can't blame us. We come in, they got the bans up. Okay, but
stop blaming us, Brigitte.
No, I blame myself.
You blame yourself?
Yeah.
Hey, don't.
No, don't blame yourself.
Okay.
Girls are never wrong.
Hey, okay.
Oh, wait, you're a boy. I forgot.
You're part of the boys.
You're part of the boys now. You're wrong.
Hey.
You're wrong,
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Lefel. Bellering picked up as well as Esmeralda. Paquito ignored for now. They could pick it up. Again, it would kind of maybe show their cards for the Freya, but it's the Barats.
Oh.
So that's looking like... Wait,
EXP Barats and then Gold Lane Freya.
Gold Freya.
Already winning the lanes, and then now with the Eudora as well. AoE crowd control, a lot of damage, much stronger opening for Aurora here.
And I feel like they don't mind the Paquito. And Onyx should not be pressured to pick it up even in this particular scenario if they really want to go for a different game plan. Because at this point, they don't decide to pick it up.
I feel like it's okay because right now the junglers, quite a lot has been taken out. I feel like the Ling is not going to be serviceable in this game, so they pick up the Nolan and maybe even ban out something like a Harley just to make sure that Aurora does not have the early game.
Yeah, because at this point, I think they have very stable size already, regardless of what the matchup is eventually gonna look like. So the only problems that could come out in the jungle, I agree, are maybe the Harley and what else did...
And I feel like Aurora ban out gold laners will be good enough here. Right now they ban out the Guinevere. Guinevere is also a good enabler considering that they have Eudora in the mid, making it so that she will have quite a lot of damage. And now the carry does get banned out. So yeah, I feel like Aurora, they just ban out gold laners and they should be okay.
Yeah. because they're mostly going for fighters. We also don't know if that's gonna be the option in the jungle even, because we're yet to figure out what the roam is gonna be. It's a Eudora, you definitely see it, but I think also the Cho is a considerable option for Aurora at this point. If you really just want to pair it up with the Eudora and whoever jungler you're gonna go for.
That should be what Onyx is thinking. I think maybe, do we ban this out? That way we don't have a kick into a stun, into a bite, into a slam.
Into everything.
I mean, it's just 3 characters and they already have way too much to deal with. So Onyx, Coach CW, you're going to have to see, do we really honor their Cho and ban it out? And it's going to be the YSS.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Taken out instead. They are looking for a jungle, so that might make a lot of sense. Plus, we have seen YSS, I believe, in this matchup.
Yeah, TNZ has used it before and able to get the win.
Yeah.
Right now, Aurora, honestly, with the bans coming up from Onyx, letting go of the Harley kind of signals to me that they're still considering playing double fighters here, right? They could pick up the mid here and then just see how the options look like. In terms of the mid picks, the Vexana, I think, will do quite well against Aurora. But hey, if you want, you can even pick up a Valentina. I don't think there's a good ult to take. So that's why I still prefer the Vexana. Other than that, yeah, Vexana, you know, Vex should be okay.
Either are safe, but it's just probably a bit more safer for the Valentina. If it's just survivability that you're considering in the mid lane. Because I feel like there are just so many angles to play around with if you're looking at Aurora's first 3 picks, but they lock in a Farsa. What the Farsa?
What the Farsa indeed.
Yeah.
Was played pretty well earlier, I think.
There's a lot of bursts here coming in from Onyx. So yeah, I think it's just like who has more firepower, right? Who has more damage, we will win. And now the Mentor gets picked up as well as the Paquito. Is it Paquito jungle or Baraz jungle? Yeah, knowing Midnight, he might even throw Freya in the jungle. So we just don't entirely know the matchup here.
It's you can't tell.
I mean,
I think it's gonna be Paquito jungle though.
Just assume the worst possible matchup.
Why? But Sicky Boom played a great Paquito. Would you really force him off that if it's in? I mean,
what if Tienzi's better? Didn't think that one, huh?
He could be. He could be. We do for sure know it's going to be, I think it's going to be Barat's EXP.
Because I feel like even if you don't like win it out through the Paquito, the Freya is still going to do a relatively decent job. Is it the Lapu Gold or an Esme Gold? Lapu Gold!
Well, again, like this is why they don't ban out the Harley, because they're like, yeah, you know what? You want to fight fire with fire? Well, we got Suns as well as Kyrie coming in with the Nolan as well as Farsa. That's a lot of burst damage.
It's a lot of team fight. It's a team fight
it's what
lineup.
The Farsa.
What the Farsa. And the AoEs too. Minotaur and Belleric. Just imagine what could happen when it comes to the team fights.
Siggy Boom will take the Freya in gold. Lunar will be on the Barats as well. It'll be a Paquito jungle from TNZ. Oh man, game 3 could be where things start to shift for 2 regions desperately fighting for a chance at the semifinal. The bid is on the line. Best of 5, game 3. Send it back to Naisu and Gideon.
The world has demanded for bloodshed, and today we are going to get here at game number 3. This is going to be spicy because both compositions want to get into your face. They all want to do one thing and find that first blood as we jump right into it. Aurora, for those of you tuning in, is going to be on blue side, facing up against Onyx on the red.
Yep. I like that how they went through this draft. Whoa, Sans. Okay, Concussive Blast and that little jump through from Baku. Enough damage to send him back. He doesn't burn the Purify at least.
At the very least. Here, but at least Pagu now gets to walk into enemy territory for free, and not to mention they're playing on their strong side. Lunar already generating a lead of his own, and Pagu takes like no damage.
Whoa!
Dead.
Holy moly. I think, that is not what I was expecting that early on. First blood.
And all of that. Why? Because, unfortunately for Sans, he just took too much damage. And now they're going to start pressing their lead to the opposite side. This is the early game that Aurora is most well known for. And now that TNZ is on this Paquito, and he's already level 3, he does some real damage.
Oh, man, they're not letting up, too. Again, playing around this pressure that Aurora Gaming has already secured themselves in the first couple minutes of the game. Trying to slow down Kyrie here a bit, but I think Onyx can go ahead and kind of readjust from this. Maybe even potentially. I mean, there's still 30 seconds for that turtle to come up. They can just kind of let that go if they have to, but knowing Onyx, they probably won't just give it up for free, even despite the pressure they're feeling this early on.
Yeah, absolutely not. They need to contest for this. I mean, this really depends on whether Sans actually hits level 4, right? Because he's the secondary win condition in this early game next to Kyrie. And even as we see this game progress, because of that early recall, the control we're seeing from Aurora, now Kyrie is like, man, this early game might not be in my hands.
Yeah, now it's Kyrie asking for the green camp control, man. You know, trying to protect these. Right now is Aurora doesn't let up. They do get the retribution out, though. So I guess that is going to be the decision by Onyx, especially since Kyrie's on level 4. Let's just give up this first turtle, give it to Aurora. They've won it by just how much pressure they put on. Oh, a big slam through into the wall. Loopy gone after Daytona's welcome. Keyboy could be next here. He's just going to be zoned out. Nope, the 1-2 punch comes through and Lunar picks up a kill.
The autopilot here. Let's not forget that Aurora just seems to be more well-connected overall, and it seems like Onyx, they needed to regroup, but unfortunately Lutpi just took the wrong path and did not want to commit his ult. I think moments like that gets really, really difficult for Onyx. Now, Sigaboom, he's more than happy. He unfortunately is in the losing matchup, but he doesn't mind as long as he's not losing out on gold or EXP. Kelra can try and lock this lane for as long as he wants, but if we do see that Sigaboom's rotating consistently, he should be able to get mid waves as well.
Yeah, and as you just saw, that's such a good kind of like a counter that Pagu has against that feathered airstrike, obviously with the Minotaur, you know, and if it's once he has the Flask of the Oasis and it kind of helps buff up that sustainability that comes with that motivational Aurora, you can then just kind of follow up with the mini jump, but then the ultimate, right, that he has that it just can set things up and stop Onyx's main game plan, which is playing around this Farsa's damage kit into a Rathodride, into setting things up for the Nolan on Kyrie to follow through. We've seen the burst damage before, but even on the other side, the counter to that is Tienzi, this Paquito jungle, which most of us have seen in the gold lane. Hold on, Lunar, okay, he's going to try to get away. Feathered airstrike dropped down, but he's tanky enough to survive it just with the Daytona's welcome.
Didn't seem like the most optimal choice overall. I get it if Lunar didn't have the stacks, but once he builds up on those stacks, he's actually comparable to like 1.5 of Lapu, right? Yeah. I think that should be the ratios that should be in their head. I think they were assuming that Kyrie was going to do a little bit more damage, but he's already 2 levels down, right? He's basically the same level as Lutfi, and even Lutfi knows for a fact that he can't chunk Lunar for more than half of his HP, and even then, we're asking for a lot. Overall, this has been a really great start for Aurora as they've controlled the entire bottom side, and it's unlucky that it spawns back down to the bottom side once more.
Yeah, right now, Aurora Gaming is basically just kind of coasting on through this early portion of the game. Second turtle's going to be up here, though, so we'll see if this time Onyx wants to possibly fight both both mid laners, picking up the glowing wands here. Again, this Eudora been such a mainstay in the meta currently, and you see why. You know, the multiple stuns that you can kind of dish out, the damage, the poke that you can do, that burst on such a kind of low cooldown is a problem. Tienzi also picking up a Sky Piercer now on that jungle Paquito. Turtle's up.
I don't think we can do this here. They're thinking about it, but he's leveled down onto TNZ, and I'm pretty sure that TNZ can just hold on to that champion stance.
Okay. Flicker forward. They're going to force this fight. Kelra on Sigaboom, though. Sigaboom trying to get away. Meanwhile, Lunar's the one to fall. The team fight's going all wrong for Aurora. Sans. There's the what the Farsa. 2 kills now, double. And that's going to be a turtle for Onyx.
A really nice play. A great interception coming in from Onyx here, making sure that at least they're dropping down their abilities on the right targets. Like, Lunar set it up pretty nicely. However, unless TNZ finds that trade onto Kyrie or even Sans, then it's just not worth the time. Oh, denial!
Oh, goodbye. Good punish there, because I was going to say, Kyrie could not get away with that after everything Onyx did, but mind you, that whole interaction has now stopped that gold lead that was building for Aurora Gaming. It was about 2,000. That's been pretty much dealt with. Kelra won't get this turret just yet, but he does do quite a bit of damage to it. Meanwhile, they got the bottom turret traded out, so Onyx now opening up the map a little bit here.
Kelra's doing a really good job. Like, first turtle, okay, Sigaboom walks out of it. Yeah. You notice that he's only level 3, and that's when you know, like, okay, sure, he probably doesn't need to be there, but at the same time, you never really know what's going through Aurora's mind, especially what they're willing to risk. And I think that's the problem that Onyx has been facing these past couple of games. They're not 100% sure whether Aurora is willing to die for certain moments in these games to get a little bit more later on. But now that the Feather Airstrike has been used early, they are making the statement, you know what? As long as Sigiboom doesn't scale, TNZ will eventually fall off.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, too, that I guess the downside... Oh, hold on. Kelra, he wants this turret. Aurora Gaming wants Kelra. Falling Star Moon, a bit of a burst of damage. Kelra be able to survive. Is there going to be a counter punch here from Onyx? They just make sure Kelra survives. They back up. Hold on. Daytona's welcome. Right on cue.
Nice.
Into 2. Lunar now going to be in trouble. The burst comes through. And Kyrie will pick up a kill. I didn't know if Aurora Gaming was going to continue to fight, but they decided to go for it.
They made a mistake there for sure. Kelra played it perfectly, using his Purify to ensure that they don't find the one-shot and sets it up for something more dangerous down the line. This is what I'm talking about. This is a game of boxing here. Let's look at the replay one more time, because as soon as Keyboy, this looked like a very good punish from Aurora until Lutpi says, you know what? As long as the damage dealer can actually go for their full combo, which they know that Rosa doesn't have, this should be a free pick on to Lunar. And they know for a fact that Bravest Fighter, it's on a short cooldown, so they can just drag this out and wait until Lutpi has it. Aurora trying to punish.
Lunar needs the stacks. Daytona's welcome, already used. Fighting off the turret. Pagu jumping in. Minoy and Fury to knock up 3. Keyboy's gone. But a Feathered Airstrike comes down from Sans. And now, Luffy flickering forward. Trying to zone out Tenzi. He's swinging around here. He's going to fight off Sigiboom. This is a fight all gone wrong right now for Onyx. The 1-2 from TNZ. And there's again, fighting for the turtle. Kyrie trying to find space, but Rosa comes in with the stun. Turtle secured by Aurora. And Kyrie goes down as well. Kelra could be next. Everybody's here to clean them up, and Kelra falls. It all falls apart for Onyx.
Oh no. Worst case scenario for Onyx. Aurora able to find the lead back again, and worst yet, they're able to take out a majority of the members of Onyx, pulling themselves to the lead that they had before. Now, just an extra 400 gold on top of it, and TNZ is probably at his strongest at this point. Walking to take away these green camps. Don't worry, Pagu, nobody's mad at you this time, but let's look at the items, because we're at a dangerous state. They're looking to make sure that TNZ is strong enough to one-shot Slans at every point of the game, but TNZ, keep in mind, that's solely based on the Sky Piercer.
Man, TNZ has done an amazing job just kind of farming up here. You know, yes, he's got 4 kills, but even with that Sky Piercer, and you see the gold lead that he's had, and a lot of that is supplemented because of the way that Aurora Gaming has played the map, you know, from the start to up to now at that 9-minute mark, which will set themselves up for a good Lord take. But Onyx has showed us that they're willing to fight. A lot of these team fights are kind of weird the way they play out, right? Because it's either going to be started up by Lunar. Oh, there's some good burst coming through. Divine Glaive was picked up recently by Rosa, but either Lunar was started up, or Onyx can kind of go ahead and choose to start things up. The downside of the Belric having to revitalize is obviously you can't surprise anyone with that flicker combination we're used to seeing. So it's got to come from someone else, and mostly it's been from Lutfi flickering forward, trying to set up, or trying to just keep things split up in these team fights. And that's why they're so finicky with the way they play it out.
And that's why I say this is like a boxing match, right? As much as you want to throw your lead hand out with a big haymaker, you also have to keep in mind that Aurora could be throwing their own haymaker. Wait a second, Keyboy!
Keyboy, what's he doing? He's going to get eaten up here. Rosa's gone, though. Kelra now splitting up the fight. There's a stun right on the mark. Minoy and Fury knock him in the air. Sans in trouble, though. Can't get away from Sigiboom. And now, in the Valkyrie form, he's going to be splitting up Kyrie and Luffy from the fight, while Keyboy's got nowhere to go. A proc on the Sky Piercer. Looking to clean up more under the Tier 2 tower. A double for TNZ. More stacks for this Paquito. And now they take down the Tier 2 turret, Kelra. He's tanky enough. He should be fine. He'll just clear out the waves.
Yeah, he is not worried at all, but the rest of his team does not have that same grace. And Sigiboom has been playing an amazing Freya, a losing matchup, and yet watch this, right? As they were playing this fight, they recognize, hey, no Feathered Airstrike. They also lost the Wrath of the Dryads, and that's when they decided to throw everything. Even Sans recognizing, hey, I gotta use the Purify to get away from a Flicker and Rage Charge coming in from Pagu, but it doesn't matter when Sigiboom has stuck on to the rest of your team, cutting you down one by one with no way to stop you. The lack of CC is going to be a huge issue.
Hold on. Daytona's welcome. Use a live camp. Kelra going to be in trouble. unstoppable. Again, a Minoan Fury knocking him in the air. Keyboy can't get away. Once again, Siggyboom leading the charge of the Valkyrie form. A big stun comes through from Loopy, though. Able to stop them in their tracks, but he gets dropped back by the Rockets. But Onyx, they want to fight back. Kyrie trying to get away with Lunar. Not enough damage on the stomp there, that auto attack. Not going to be able to take out Kyrie, but man, what a fight in the jungle.
This is a beautiful game here. Despite being 5.6k ahead, Aurora lose out on Siggyboom in comparison to Keyboy. An upward trade for Onyx, but the economic damage is not done just yet. Another structure falls in the favor of Aurora. Another buff taken away from Kyrie. He's struggling this game. He's 1-4-4, and every single person he wants to go for the kill has some form of damage reduction, has some form of anti-CC, or worse yet, just raw sustainability.
Yep, really good play there from Onyx. Because of the fact that they took out Siggyboom in the last fight, they pretty much alleviate that damage that Lord push would have done. Again, you're just seeing, despite being down these thousands of gold, Onyx somehow is still able to actually go toe-to-toe in the team fight against Aurora Gaming here. And now for them, again, they have to look at what's their best angle? What's the best attack plan here for them? And especially when it comes to the jungle, because Aurora Gaming has not let up on this as they continuously try to take these buffs. Again, Daytona's welcome, throwing him into the wall. Keyboy, it's going to be, again, the focus. A feathered airstrike to follow through. And now Siggyboom on the back line. He's just everywhere. Sound's got nowhere to go. Forget the turret, forget everyone else. Aurora Gaming will just go for this fight, tossing everyone around, and they just go full-on wipeout against Sonic, and that's going to get Aurora Gaming this game under their belt, taking the series 2-1.
The one extra detail is what makes Siggyboom one of the best Freyas here in this competition. When he fights, he's already looking ahead of the map thinking, you know what, I can't 1v5, but if there's just enough minions, I will be able to sustain through the damage with my Descent of the Valkyries that have the extra AoE per auto attack, which is why you're seeing go from 0 to 100, 0 to 100 every single time. A dangerous game that Onyx is playing here, and one that they need to figure out right here, right now. There's too many holes in that draft. Last time it was missing that Atlas. Now, dealing with the Freya seems to be impossible. The ideas are good, but if Kyrie can't find that early game advantage, I don't know how they're going to play.
I gotta say, man, again, you know, now that it's match point here that Aurora Gaming is going into against Onyx, Lunar was a big part of this. The way he played the Spirits, the way that he was able to go ahead and lock down, sometimes it was just Keyboy, but his timings of the Daytona's welcome were just pivotal, but also Pagu. Again, this Minotaur hasn't been brought up too much, but you can just see how much crowd control comes into play for this, makes it happen. I mean, even something before this fight broke out, Siggyboom picked up the Corrosive Scythe, and this was enough to kind of, you know, slow them down a little bit so that they could follow through on this. Even going and flickering forward under that tier 2 turret just allowed them to collapse down. Almost every single fight after this looked like that. Lunar starting up, Siggyboom jumping towards the back line, putting enough pressure there, and then the follow-through where they just collapse around Onyx lineup.
Let's not forget the raw amount of CC that Aurora actually has to cancel out big abilities. There's so much to talk about in this game, but we're going to leave it over to the panel to break it down for you guys here in game number 3. Rain Day, what'd you think about it?
Well, I loved it. I loved it because it set up another story that this MSC is bringing all of us, which is the title defense. In 2023, Onyx, the team that you see here, that organization was able to win at MSC. In 2024, it was SRG. They were able to take the crown again, and then they would go to another final, a grand final against the defending champions, Team Liquid PH. But as we have seen for the former two, they have been knocked out of the competition. Onyx is the last remnant of a championship that may be falling again. And with one more game, Aurora could put the final nail in that story's coffin. Here's a little bit more about the journey, about the stakes, and about what has happened up until this point for the champion defense of MSC.
From the start of MSC in EWC, there's never been a back-to-back champion here. It started with SRG, Selangor Red Giants in 2024. They won it all, went all the way to the grand finals in 2025, but unfortunately had to suffer defeat against Team Liquid. They came in as strong contenders, looking to be the one to break the curse. The back-to-back was strong up until we saw the biggest downfall ever. The biggest upset in MLBB history. Team Liquid dropped out of the competition in groups without a single game victory. Now the question is, what happened to Team Liquid? Why is the curse so strong of no back-to-back?
I cannot tell what really went wrong. Pressure, or is it the mental aspect of it? Maybe some of the things were wrong. But as of now, all I can say is that that's definitely not the level that we usually bring. It might be the worst international run for us. Definitely not what we expected, but we will learn from and come back stronger.
We're so not prepared to the meta shift. We didn't think that it would affect us so much. There's a lot of people saying that I can't keep up with the assassin meta, and yeah, they were right. I will need to do better next time. It sucks to lose this early in the tournament. It's my first time experiencing this. I don't want it to happen again.
For me, it was a failure. I don't think anyone expected this to be this bad. Even now, I still can't believe that. From last year, winning all of it, and then now being the first team to be eliminated. We must recover first with what we're feeling right now and find that motivation all over again. Let's see where life takes us.
I think Liquid came in thinking that they were prepared, but it wasn't enough. They didn't cover a lot of their bases, especially with the new patch, with the new meta. From us, honestly, we just didn't care because we played our game. The biggest disappointment came from when they lost against E7. I don't know if they did this, but maybe they've underestimated all the teams here. That's the curse of being number one, and I think that's what happened. They just didn't think that people would catch up to them.
Team Liquid getting eliminated from groups without a single win, I'm just as shocked as the rest of the world is. It felt like I wasn't watching Liquid. Underperforming, I think, for the results of Liquid here is an understatement. It didn't feel like Liquid. It felt disconnected.
For me, Carl, I know Carl since I've been playing with him since my rookie season, which is season 6. I know him and I don't think that he would give up that easily. Yeah, I hope he would still try his best, and I really hope to meet him again in M8.
The PH team got shocked in some of the pocket picks of the other teams. We are not really familiarized on that hero, so we just got us good. And I think we can still adapt if they try pocket picks again.
This MSC at EWC has brought us tons of surprises and shocks. We set our sights to see, again, who can rise above and be the champions this year.
Well, it wasn't easy for the GOAT, Carl TZ, and Team Liquid PH to take that loss, but they've taken it on the chin. You heard it from Sanford. You heard it from Carl. They understand that there's more to do. They understand that they might have been in a position to look at this tournament in eyes that didn't work for whatever reason. It might have been lack of preparation. It could have also just been not being ready for that meta. It could have been mental, as Coach Aon said as well. We won't quite know, and there's no point in going too back at it, guys, because right now, you've got Onyx in a very similar position where they have reached this final, but they're in the knockout stages, potentially one game away from going out.
Yeah, one of the, again, you mentioned, few remaining remnants of a champion, MSC champion left here in this tournament. And they're currently up against Aurora, who are already at match point. So we are about to literally rewrite history here in MSC 2026 if ever the script does not flip in Onyx's favor. And the way we're seeing it right now, it's constant adaptation and Aurora being the better prepared team every single time.
What does it do to look at the rest of this tournament and how it's gone and apply that logic to we may see the remnants of a championship falling? Because to me, it feels right in line with what we've seen. We've seen a new meta. We've seen old players and new players struggle with it. We've seen dynasties already fall. I mean, wouldn't it be apropos, since we're in France, to see a new champion here at this MSC?
What I see during this MSC is that this is a new beginning, right? Because for countless years now, Southeast Asia has been dominating the MLBB field. But this shows with the right tweaks of the meta, with teams getting used to the pressure that Southeast Asia usually put on tournaments, now we can see that this meta is an equal playing field. And just like what Coach Midnight said, I think it's not exclusively for TL. I feel like every single team, even if you're coming in here as the underdog, as a dark horse, you tend to underestimate your opponents. Be like, they're not that great. We can take them down. And now this just shows that MLBB is just in a state where everyone can win.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very healthy spot for the game.
Yeah, and it's very timely because it's, I think, the first time we actually held a tournament in this part of the world.
Yeah.
And we're finally seeing the more newer regions really stepping up and being the quote-unquote final boss now, if really
Yeah.
Aurora gets to maintain this kind of performance, which they likely will, unless Onyx get to pull out something and definitely reset out of what happened in that game, because it was pretty fast again.
Yeah.
And it's always been the case. It's always fast games, and I don't think you really want to go up against or go through those kinds of games, especially in crucial moments like this.
They have shown a little bit of weakness, but it's the exact same. This is basically exactly how the first series went, LaFell. What did you see breaking down game 2? And then, of course, game 3 here that we just had that has put Aurora 2-1 up against Sonic.
Well, first of all, we got to look at Onyx draft here. The king and queen here, Nolan as well as the Farsa. This is going to be the main damage coming in from Onyx. Now, here's the thing. Nolan pseudo gets countered by the Minotaur and as well as both of these fighters. Just because they're tanky, it's hard to take them down. And the Minotaur heals them back up. So it makes it so that Nolan's damage is nullified. So then the biggest problem is you got to take on the queen, which is the Farsa. Farsa is honestly able to win the entire team fight by herself, creating just so much damage, and then the rest of the team, they just got to clean up. So we got to look at how Onyx won in the early game, and then what changed that made them lost, right? We're going to be looking at the first clip here. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Well, we look at the early game, this is still what Aurora and Onyx, both they want to do. And we heard from Pagu, the green caps are very important. We see here that four members of Aurora just to get this one camp. This just shows how important the jungle really is in terms of getting gold for yourself as well as denying gold from your opponent. So that's something both teams have to look out for. And then we got to look at the laning phase here. Look at how Kelra, he has won against Sigibum, but this is not the important part. We see what moves on later on because we will see Sigibum and Kelra both going to the turtle pit. And this is where I really want to bring this up. The reason why Onyx has been winning these fights is because there's a good focus on making sure that Sigibum is not part of the fight. And the one that's doing that is Kelra. Kelra is doing an amazing man-to-man defense, making it so that Sigibum is not part of the fight. So why is that significant? Well, number one is that we're going to be looking at a team fight here. And this is what we see. We see Lunar engaging into the fight, able to get Loopy, and Keyboy is there. But look at how free Sans is, right? Sans is completely free here so that he's able to deal out a lot of damage and untouched. But more importantly, look at Sigibum. Sigibum has been stopped by Kelra. He has no more HP and Kelra is stopping him. So no damage to the damage dealers. And this is why we see Aurora is just not enough firepower in the fight. But then we see things start to shift just by this. Look at the different positionings here. Hold on. All right. So now you can see more clearly. Kelra is here, but he's against Rosa and Lunar. You don't see Sigibum there. Sigibum is all the way here, right? So even though he's half HP, he's not super healthy, but as long as Kelra is not man-to-man defense on Sigibum, look at how different the team fight looks. Look at all three members immediately jumping onto Loopy, and then look, more importantly, Sans and Kyrie. They're both clumped up together. It makes it easier for Sigibum to get on top of them, making it so that there's no damage in the fight. We see how this fight progresses. Later on, Rosa even able to stun up Kyrie, and Sans is just not able to do much in this game. So I would say the change that happened is that Sigibum knows he has to avoid Kelra. As long as Sigibum and Kelra are not at the same part of the map, Sigibum is just free. And this is why Gideon even said both teams are trying to throw haymakers.
Yeah.
Kelra has been blocking that shot time and time again. The moment Sigibum is free, there's just no damage coming in from Onyx. That's why they kept on losing.
Yeah, and I feel like it was just really Aurora being the more capable of team of adjusting on the fly, because their roles, I feel, were a bit more flexible in a sense.
Yeah.
Because yes, Esmeralda is typically a hero you see in the EXP lane, but it was flexed into gold. But at the same time, if you look at their composition as a whole, aside from being more flexible, their roles and their jobs can be very different. Aurora, they have so much more sieging power, so you maybe could assign different people to deal with wave management at the same time. And on top of that is the fact that, again, they can be more creative with their angles. You could say the same too for Onyx, but at the same time, it's coupled with really good damage. I don't think you could totally say the same for Onyx, who have sort of really opted to just build more defense, be more protectors rather than damage dealers as well. But on the other side, Aurora, individually, they're just players that you could really, or you should really be aware of.
I feel like Onyx, a quick adjustment is to understand who's the threat and making sure they're able to deal with it. The moment they know that they can't deal with it, then it starts becoming a problem. Because I feel like the way that Kera played, I think Coach Yeb and CW are saying, like, make sure that Sigibum is taken care of. And I feel like just in the mid game, is just Aurora able to make sure that Sigibum is never get caught. So I feel like on the fly, they got to change the plan. Kera, if you can't do it, someone else has to do it. As long as Sigibum is not in the map, they should be good. They just couldn't adjust.
Handling that problem with the Paquito is a tough one because you're letting it through the draft, so you got to deal with it. But if Kelra's the only one who can do it, the only game that they won, Kelra was 12-0 or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, he needs to go off. And if his role is just making sure that Sigibum goes 2-2, but he goes 0-2, I mean, that's not enough. You need a win from Kelra.
I agree. It's always
Go back to your ace.
Yeah, it's always been the case for Onyx though. The carries have always really been Kelra, Kyrie, I think a bit of Sans here and there. Specifically in that last game, I think they really attempted for Sans to be one of the main ones because they've shifted Kelra into a role that was not so carry of him. But that too didn't work because again, the nature of the lineup that you were going up against was a lineup that could just keep diving in your face. And Sans had a very, what do you call it? It's a hero that just stays.
Yeah, he's stationary.
It's a stationary hero, so...
I mean, like yesterday we saw Falcons going up against Vitality, and that's the biggest problem where Vitality doesn't have a dive hero. And that's where we see the ultimate strength of the Farsa, right?
Yeah.
Able to deal damage freely, but against a Freya, against a Lapu, against an Alice, against a Yuzong. There's so many heroes that the Farsa has to be careful of. It's just that in this game, Freya was there. If the Freya wasn't there, I could have seen Onyx winning that draft.
They played with it. I mean, they said, okay, here, we'll see what happens if Freya gets let through. It did not work. Freya and Paquito have been punishing, and it's not that every team is doing this. We're not seeing a Paquito gold lane every single time, but we are seeing it with Aurora, and I think Aurora should keep going for it until Onyx use one of their bans or they come up with a way to beat it.
But that's a thing though. It's always been the Paquito showing up in the last pick for Aurora in blue.
How do they keep getting away with this?
Look, they're not banning it.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, that's just a lack of, in my opinion, that's a lack of respect, but it's also a lack of acknowledging what is not working, because that's definitely a through line. The other question I think I want to ask you guys as we head into it is, how do you get Freya Ban, Selena, and Barats as well? How do you get Kelra for sure in a winning matchup? I don't care if it's Paquito. What does he need against the Paquito if it's going to be back up again? How do you get him winning?
Honestly, like Kera is a marksman player. He's a traditional position 1 player because again, he's the ace. He can carry. It just seems like this is not the meta for it, but I feel like you got to force it out. They've already shown that they can do it the Granger, right? So as long as whatever hero you pick up is viable in the early game, then you're all good.
Stick with it. Stick with it, maybe. And Onyx are
stronger identity.
Yeah. Just believe in yourself.
Believe it. You can tell that we're running out of things to say up here.
I mean, like, she's right, though. You got to believe in yourself.
Because we saw it work the first time when they picked the Granger, a comfort pick that we did not necessarily expect, especially in that scenario. But yeah, the Paquito is still going to be open here in this matchup.
But it wasn't, I think the other thing is there was pressure on the gold lane as well, which helped get the early kill. So that Granger accelerated, and that's where I think you need to look at Onyx. What has been our win condition? But the other thing that I'm excited about is we get to, that's what I'm talking about.
Because I think even they like 100% is gonna get stolen,
it's
right?
Siggin, so we're gonna grab it early. They get the priority. In some ways, the one thing I was saying, we haven't seen Onyx respond again. We saw them lose, then win, then lose, and this set was over. Now we get to see their response. Maybe they do have an answer ready for this.
At the very least, though, it's not both the Freya and Paquito open.
At least.
At least on Aurora's side. But if it's an answer to the Paquito, it's
is Melissa something that needs to come out a little bit more?
I think it's an option. I think it's an option.
Not a direct one.
Yeah, not a direct one, but it's kind of like not the worst thing, right? Now they pick up a Zushin as well as the Uranus and now the Eudora. I think the Eudora is, again, just to shut down Kyrie because, again, the Uranus and Zushin, they don't care too much about Eudora.
That's a lot of burst damage you're already seeing from Aurora, though. And you see the vulnerable heroes from...
Hey, this is how you start an avalanche. You gotta go loud.
Yeah.
And all of the games, well, except for the second one, that was clearly an Aurora avalanche.
It's looking to be another one here if Onyx don't show us their answer in response to these heroes from Aurora just yet. The Cho's already being taken out. We don't know if they're going to resort back to their identity and just go for a Kiboy Kelra combo or hero synergy that works. But with the Cho taken out, I think that's less options for Onyx overall.
Unless they pick up a carry, I don't think they can play pickoff because Kalia is still there if they want to play pickoff, but their draft doesn't really look like it's centered around that. And now even the Granger, good respect here coming in from Coach Midnight.
Yeah. Uranus was picked up on the side previously of Aurora in the EXP lane. We've also seen Barats. We've seen Hilda. That was a loss, however. So forcing something different. The Freya also banned as well, saying, let's just see if we can get a little bit of an advantage here. The Esmeralda also banned. So a lot of the EXP answers that Aurora have gone to, not available this game.
There is the Alice still, if they want a frontline that can kind of engage into the fight. We haven't seen a Terizla, but it could be viable. The only problem is that Zushin. So I feel like Alice might be the safest if they just want a frontline in the EXP.
So if they go Alice, then that's...
Oh yeah, it's Mayban, yeah.
So it's all the more reason for Onyx to at least pick up a source of shred or DPS. But you don't really want to claw against the Paquito anymore.
Carry, you need a carry. Or Moskov.
A Moskov carry is an option, but...
Melissa is also not bad. Yeah, going up against Eudora, it's very awkward to pick up a mid-range marksman.
Pagu on the pick, trying to figure out what's next for Aurora. They've caught Onyx by surprise. Really not too much. It's been clear what they've wanted. We expected Midnight to throw some crazy stuff out there. It's pretty much been double fighter, Paquito in the gold lane that's caused problems. And another Harith.
So it's not Paquito in the gold for Aurora in this game at least. So maybe...
It could be jungle or EXP.
Oh, wow. And they're still flexing that opportunity.
Yeah. So maybe Kelra could feel a bit better about picking up a gold lane matchup towards or into the Harith this time, regardless of how they want to play this. But Keyboy, his options in Rome have been limited as well. You need the information. There's a Eudora that's just going to be...
I feel like Hylos is going to be pretty good because you just need someone to absorb that burst, give a lot of space to the Uranus, as well as a good combination with the Zushin.
Yeah.
If they don't, I can see a Gatot doing okay.
Because it's dangerous grass, so I think it's all the more reason for Aurora to just keep going in for the surprises. But they go for Brody Gatot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got Akacha potentially a little bit of counter engage with the ultimate if somebody gets in. Just the knock-up stun and have a chance to also move into that. So if he's caught out of position, maybe could even get aggressive with it. So the Gato might be a good idea.
Right now, Onyx, it looks like they have lane-winning matchups, or at least the possibility to win that lane. And knowing Kelra, I'm not going to doubt him. I feel like he could do it. So I feel like for Onyx, they try to win the side lanes and then go off of there. Because again, that's kind of like the story this entire series.
Yeah, and at least Kelra is going to have a bit more range to play around with. If you don't really want to walk up close to Aurora and get caught in by the burst damage by the Paquito and the Eudora, but the Hylos to wrap up the draft for Aurora.
You like it, Brig?
Yeah, it's a different hero that we're seeing on Pagu all over again, but I think it's going to help so much if it's revitalized, especially in just sustaining the overall team fights.
Hylos going to be in the EXP lane here. Pagu going Belleric on the roam, so this will be an interesting matchup, guys. It's going to be game number 4. Aurora has a chance to send Onyx home. This would be one for the record books as well, as we would see the Turkey A representative moving on to the semifinals with just one more game. We'll see if they can silence the crowd as we go to our casters.
Thank you so much, Rain Day. Once again, history being made here today. Turkey may have their one opportunity to make history and say, you know what, this is our best finish ever, and it can only go up from here. But on the opposite side, Onyx, the Sky Kings themselves, very understandably that most people will see them as the favorites, but it's tough. So far, we've seen so many good plays from either side, but Aurora keeps getting one over them just like this. But Onyx, this time, now forcing Rosa to take the early recall.
Yeah, little reminiscent of the last game, right? But that time it was Sans that had to burn his battle spell early on, or was actually pressured enough to go back to base early on. But luckily for Rosa, no death, right? So no first blood yet, but this is kind of what we expected to see between this early game already. Now, one thing I have to question though too is this Hylos pick. We were wondering what would pop up in the XP lane given the bans and everything else. Now, is this the right thing against the Uranus?
I think so far against the Uranus, it doesn't matter. It's not about the laning phase, it's about the team fights later down the line, right? They have a way to kind of slow Kyrie down, force him to use his iframes early on, and I think the Glorious Pathway is significant to try and slow down both Sans and Kelra from either chasing those kills or to chase them if the impact from Aurora's team fight is just that much greater. We'll see on the very first turtle here to see how that's going to play out, because level 4s, they're going to be extremely key for Aurora.
Yeah, you got to think about it this way too. The crowd control, once again, that Aurora Gaming has been playing around with is what's helped their lineups and execution so much. Seeking Boom's going to be sent back to base here because, again, going back to the crowd control options for Aurora, you know, they've got that stun that comes with the Hylos. You mentioned with Glorious Pathway, slowing them down too, or speeding yourself up, which can help even Rosa. Go for that stun on the Sidora. And then, of course, you have Pago and the Belric, right? This time around, too, you've got a Flicker because of the fact that you have the Hylos with that Revitalize, kind of that sustainability to work with. So Pago's surprise factor can be beneficial here. So Onyx, as they approach these fights, you know, they have enough crowd control themselves. They have sustainability with their own Revitalize. And, you know, that's why when you see these compositions come through and you see the Revitalize come to play, it extends these team fights, which can be favorable, again, to have a Jushin, to have Kelra's space here. Oh, couple punches. Okay. Better to burn the Flicker than die there for Kelra.
I totally agree, but more importantly, that just saved Sigaboom his entire laning phase. And now there's a potential angle here, but as long as Sigaboom is able to, you know, get some help to break that freeze, it makes things so much easier because he was about to get frozen out and not be able to play the laning phase at all. Down by bot side though, I'm surprised that Luna was able to get this much pressure considering that Lupe is supposed to be the one who actually kind of maintains full control overall. Like his passive into the Ring of Punishment really just kind of doesn't matter. It's just a free stacks for him. Okay.
Little jump in from Keyboy. I mean, they wanted to make a play on Rosa. But Rosa holds on to the Flicker too, so that's a no-go there in the mid lane. A couple ultimates thrown out. And it's back to it, but Onyx slowly building up what they can across the map. Much slower pace, you know, than what we have to see because, again, Onyx needs to kind of slow this down in a bit, let Kyrie get to where he needs to be, and pressure where they can. Right now, mid lane, okay, Sans still going to be okay. Much mana to work with here, though.
Yeah, again, at least Rosa is able to try and equalize the EXP just a little bit against Sans. Unfortunately, hold on.
Oh, Sigaboom. Fighting off Kelra here in the 1v1. Taking too many shots, though. First blood in the hands of Kelra. Man, did he fight for that one.
Oh, predicted from Kelra as well. Anticipating where the Chrono Dash was going to be. And now they have to protect these green camps. Lunar is going to try, but that Retribution is a little too big for the side of Kyrie as they continue to take these small incremental leads and making sure that when they do the man-to-man defense, there's always just a huge tax that Onyx applies on towards Aurora's side.
Oh, Pago. Gonna go ahead and heal up a little bit here, but okay, Onyx not gonna follow through with that. They are just looking for those small wins. They're looking to compound the interest here. Gideon, as you mentioned, now Zaman Force dropped down. Kelra going in with a bit of stun there to work with. Torn apart memory. Not gonna be enough, and Sigaboom will get his revenge. And now Sans re-engaging with the beacon. The rest of the team to follow through. Kyrie will be able to pick up a kill for himself. Now Tienzi off the wings alongside Lunar. Glorious Pathway drop down and Sans trapped, nowhere to go. Keyboy with a jump. Not going to be able to find the target. They're split up here. Now Tienzi waiting once again on the call. Lunar will go ahead and just force out Onyx from this area.
And that's officially Aurora actually winning out big time on that trade. Where was Kyrie? Was he not in position to try and trade for Kelra, or was he 100% confident that Kelra was going to win that no matter what? Risky as it is, at least the Flicker is back up, and more importantly, Kyrie already getting his own Sky Piercer. Let's see if they can snowball this, because fortunately for Lunar, he's going to be a big problem for Onyx, especially on these neutral takes.
Tienzi also got his. First item locked in for Rosa, too. Both mid laners fighting for it out. Second turtle, though. Glorious Pathway already dropped down. Still half health from the turtle. You're going to deal with Lunar. Again, a split fight happening here. Loopy able to get a couple resources out. Now Lunar trying to get away with that Revitalize. Still going to reset this turtle. So neither team getting the upper hand just yet. But it will be Kyrie to hold on to this turtle. It looks like TNZ is just going to have to give it up.
Yep, they don't have the health or the mana. And Onyx, that's what they want to do. Keep taxing them until they can't afford it anymore. Once they go for broke, that's when Onyx can start fully taking control over this game. For now, at least for Aurora's side, they're looking for the first and second item power spikes to really turn these fights over. So having this 2K lead on Onyx isn't the worst thing in the world. However, where's the big conversions, right? Every single lane is winning here.
Wow. Okay, and I guess they just got the call too, you know, so you come join us, give up that top lane, but they will be able to find Keyboy. So trading it out just to grab a kill, forfeiting the top tier 1 turret. Aurora Gaming is going to make that switch now, looking to put pressure on tier 1 mid.
And that's exactly what you want to do. These are the conversions that matter here. And Pagu instantly wants to cut off as many rotations as possible. Look at Luna right in front of Sans' face.
Yep, they're going to have to stop him down. Glorious Pathway to disengage, but Aurora Gaming got what they wanted. A kill, and now that turret falling in the mid lane. So this is going to be a battle. I feel like for game 4, what we're seeing, very different from the previous 3 games, is just this battle of attrition, finding these little moments around the map, finding ways to open it up, get that favorable matchup when you can, win this next objective, that turtle, and eventually the Lords come.
Whoa, hold up. This could be really, really dangerous. As Onyx forcing Lunar out of position, allowing Kelra to actually open things up. You can see the rest of the members are man-to-man defensing here. They understand what's about to happen, and I don't think they should take this right now.
All right, Conceal used. Little taunt there, Unbreakable. Gonna bring Pagu back. He goes in with a flicker. Locking him down with the Raptor Dryad. Sand's gonna be okay though. Aurora Gaming on the back foot. They want to get away. Avatar of the Guardian will burn the flicker from Rosa. Still gonna be caught amidst it all. Against the wall they go. A burst of damage, but Siggy Boom is gone, and Onyx will win this fight. A double for Kyrie.
That's got to be upsetting here. Very, very upsetting. But even so, it's just not enough damage. The economic lead here for the side of Onyx being pressed against Aurora as they are starting to run out of breath. But initially, when you see this fight from the side of Aurora, maybe it could have been something more, and they wanted Sans really bad. They got the ult out. They also made sure that he doesn't have his flicker available. The problem is if they don't net themselves the kill, that's a lot of resources wasted on the side of Aurora.
That also, you know, when we saw it from the highlights there, it just looked like they weren't synced up the way they wanted to follow through on Pagu's setup. They were kind of in a weird position, and it might have been one of those cases where, again, Pagu's just like, you know, I'm already here and I'm already taunted up, but I'm unbreakable and everything else. I kind of have to do something, and, you know, Aurora Gaming loses that fight. Now they lose themselves the space to work with. They're 5,000 gold behind, and Onyx has been in this driver's seat now for a few minutes. And the fact that you have the Sky Piercer that was picked up and we talked about minutes ago, Kyrie's now got a couple stacks on it, so that's great for him. And even looking at the build that Kelra has, he's going for the Rage Advantage, right? He already had that blade earlier on. That was his first time he rushed in. Then he got Malefic Gun, and Brody's already got great range advantage against a Harith. Well, now, even more so.
Yeah, and I think that's the really scary part, right? Because Onyx, this is a really good timing to, you know, instigate fights, and Aurora recognized that. That's why you're seeing them clump up together a lot more, because they have to work with their secondary win condition or main scaler in this particular case in Sigibum.
Yeah.
Tienzi also understands that as much as he is the jungler, the neutral objectives are very manageable for the time being until we start getting into the Lords. So we need to see the tempo breaker here.
Right now, too, Lunar, even as tanky as he is, he can feel the damage being put out. This purple buff being fought for, though, unfortunately, Tienzi will not be able to secure it. Kyrie's been pretty unrelentless in this side of the jungle as he just continues to take camps, you know, from Aurora Gaming.
Interesting. I hope I saw that right. That was a Haas call purchase coming in from Kelra here. Wants to make sure that at least at the very bare minimum that he actually has some form of lifesteal. And not to mention that, you know, Brody naturally, the way that his auto attacks work, has so much more base damage than the regular marksman, all kind of put into one because he doesn't have as many consistent auto attacks compared to them. In this case, he's going to get a decent amount of heal. So in case they try to burst him, the window has just gotten smaller for the side of Aurora.
Okay, with Lord up, Onyx with a clear advantage. They should have space control above this. They'll keep Loopy up there on the top side doing his thing for now. they don't want to overstep this. One thing's for sure is you're up against a team like Aurora Gaming, you still got to respect what they can do, even if you have this kind of lead that Onyx has built up. But they can go ahead and play the map this way. You know, keep Lutby there, play around the rest of the 4 members of Onyx. And Aurora Gaming knows this. One thing too, having this dangerous grass in tow, you can make some surprise plays. We saw the attempt from Aurora, but now Lutby being spotted out, and the rest of Aurora Gaming, they don't have much more room to work with. Conceal was already used. They're going to keep them pushed off the Lord.
And the pendulum swings again. Sigabum kind of the only person who has enough damage to deal with Lutby. Rosa, as you can see, needs to put a little bit of work into Lutby, start shredding the MR first, and then starts getting the empowered fork to lightning to ensure that he gets some permanent damage. But even then, Lutby is in a phenomenal position. He's got plenty of magic resist. He's got plenty of health to work with. He's running Brave Smite as well. Oh, well, never mind. As soon as I say Divine Glaive has already been purchased by Rosa.
All right, it's locked in. Onyx might be looking to make that attempt here. It's going to reset, though. Ice Queen Wand picked up 2. By Sans, being dragged back. Flicker forward, not connecting the Wrath of the Dryad. Will get punished anyway. Kelra able to pick up a kill, and with that, Aurora Gaming has to give this Lord over to Onyx.
What a difficult job that Pagu is trying to attempt here. He sees the angle where he either has to pick Kyrie or Kelra. He wants to get both of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to cost them here, right? I think he has to make a clean decision of what needs to get cut in half. So far, I think Kyrie should be the priority in this case because he's the one running Sky Piercer. That could open up some more opportunities, but it doesn't change the natural problem that even without a Sky Piercer, Kelra can finish off kills with torn apart memories from halfway across the screen.
Yeah, that range advantage is what makes Brody so deadly in this case here. And a POD picked up for Kyrie now. So maybe, yeah, Pagu just needs to go ahead. If he can catch Kyrie, catch one of them, might be better than what we've seen the past couple of interactions right now. They got to deal with this Lord up top. They clear out what they can in the mid. Where's Pathway drop down? They're going for Kelra. He's going to get stunned. I'm tired of the Guardian. Now Kelra's in trouble. Pagu will find him and just punch him in the face. Locking him down. Keyboy gone. Kyrie on the run. Loopy trying to get away too. What just happened to Onyx in this side of the jungle? They do shut down Tienzi. And now Sans looking for more. Burns the flicker from Rosa. Lord is still there. Sigibum's got to deal with it. But man, Aurora Gaming might have found a little bit of life and wiggle room in this game.
Yeah, honestly, that was pretty good coming in from Aurora. I'm pretty sure that Keyboy didn't have his taunt ready to go, and they recognize that Kelra still doesn't have his flicker for a couple more seconds, so they find the punish. Let's watch this one more time, because it felt like Kelra just kind of ate it. And Keyboy, out of position, uses the AOG to try and close the distance, but by then it's already too late. The damage has already been done. Not to mention that also, you know, passive coming in from Pagu, shredding away at the little bit of life that Kelra actually has, but now he's got the Berserker's Fury on top of the Haas Claws. He's got some real damage in his belt right now, and unless Sans can keep him protected, they want the traditional front to back.
If Onyx didn't have that Lord that Aurora Gaming had to deal with, Aurora Gaming would have followed through in that fight. Seaboom knew he had to go back, clear it out. So, and they maintained the base turrets. Again, falling from this deficit, Aurora Gaming able to go ahead and find a moment, but I think that was just, you know, a little mistake from Onyx. Again, they still have a great lead. They still have Kyrie didn't go down, so he's, you know, his stacks that he's built up over this time has been okay. And as you mentioned, Kelra now has another item locked in here. Even Sans getting a little more defense locked in with that Bruce Force breastplate.
This is where things are going to be a little dicey all across the board here. And Keyboy already making sure he's able to slow down the auto attacks coming in from Sigaboom. Chastise Pauldron, a pretty important purchase in case that he just needs a sliver of health to survive. A lot of brute force breastplates across the board as well.
No, they again kind of help with this physical damage throughput, especially with Tenzi, the way he's built up. I mean, he's even got a little mix of defensiveness there with the Queen's Wings locked in. But it's just been, I think, one thing that really stands out throughout these, you know, even the group stage now and the knockout stages, just the way the teams have executed these team fights is so crucial. Hirara obviously allows you to have a little more room to work with in comparison to a Paquito. So Tienzi really has to not get kind of faked out. I feel like that's what happens with a lot of times when the Hirara's across from you and you're dealing with it. You've just got so much to work with. And that's why, again, the responsibility of Pagu so crucial here on landing these Wrath of Dryads. Lutfi going to be forced out of that brush alongside Keyboy. So it's a face-off for this Lord.
Just look at the way that they have to play, right? The only person who may be able to bait a reaction from Onyx is Sigabo because he's such a high-priority target. Now, Onyx, they don't have control over this, and Kyrie is ready to hop over the pit. But look at the mid lane. They get that first shove. They're going to reset this, and they're looking for an interception. Oh, are we going to get punished for getting knocked up by the Lord? Luckily, they don't.
Oh. Lutfi, okay, he's still half health. They're going to bring back Lunar. Lunar dropping down the glorious pathway to cut off Lutfi, but that's not the target you want to go for if you're Aurora Gaming. And now, couple ultimates expended here from Aurora Gaming. Lord will just reset as the space does.
At least they set the conditions. We used a lot of our ultimates, but we got a really good push down on that mid lane that Onyx has to respond to. Losing a free inhibitor turret is unacceptable at this stage of the game. And I think that at least for Aurora, they know they've hit the 43k mark. Their carries have the damage. TNZ and Sigabom are ready to fight. The question is, can they get some value or discounts from Lunar or even Pagu?
They saw TNZ up in the top lane. They wanted to blitz this Lord, but it resets anyway. So again, a good choice here to just kind of back off. Keyboy was there, gave them the information. Meanwhile, Onyx still looking to bait Aurora Gaming into a fight. Quarter the health on this Lord. Whoa. It's going to reset once again. Look at the positioning here from Keyboy.
Oh
Lutfi,
my God.
Consecration drop down. Pagu goes in with the flicker at the Dryad. Kalra's still going to be fine though. Torn apart Mepri. Pagu goes down. TNZ can't find an opening. He's trapped. Even with an immortality, Kyrie gets a double. Onyx with the team fight victory here will get them the Lord.
What an incredible read from Kalra. What an incredible read. He reacted perfectly to the scenario. Winner crown just in time because Pagu, he keeps on doing this. Keep your eyes here. He sees it instantly. Winner crown to dodge the entire thing, and he still has the corrosive strikes to make sure that he can finish everybody off. He's marked them, he's tagged them, he's outplayed them. Got in the gold lane for a reason.
Yeah, what a move there. Again, it's a KK connection, just a different one for this. And now knocking on the mid turret. They're going to go ahead. Force it down. Whoa, Keyboy taking a lot of damage here. He wants to get away. Does with the Avatar of the Guardian defensively with a sliver of health. He'll regen it back up. They still have the Lord making its way here. So Onyx can go ahead and walk this into at least a base turret, potentially knocking down two. Aurora Gaming wanting to hold on.
Oh, some really scary stuff. Really, really scary stuff. And you can see that Aurora, unfortunately, without the glorious pathway, it's a lot harder for them to go on the chase. For Onyx, they can naturally do it, right? They have many different ways of using iframes and immobilizing, trading with one another, you know, the push and pull from Keyboy alongside with Kyrie to maintain their presence. Keyboy, he wants it, but they're not going to give him that option just yet. Oh my God.
Rosa, look at the damage. Rosa's going to have to be careful here, half health. But again, I think Aurora Gaming is going to be happy with that defense. They keep up two base turrets. Onyx gets one. They play the discipline route, and they'll back off for now. Again, they don't want to push it too far in. Even with, again, with this kind of lead, the composition, they can't get caught in a bad state here under these base turrets. So happy with one. Still have plenty of time for that next Lord to come up here. But looking at the items again, you know, now that you've already seen the Winter Crowns come to play, the Immortalities, you're going to see some item swaps up to this point.
Dom-Ice already complete as well, making sure there's some kind of anti-heal and anti-shield. Oh, wait. Interception angle potentially here.
He's going to get Unbreakable taunted. Should be able to get away. Good coverage there, though, by Aurora Gaming. Again, you can see they have to play together here. They're most likely going to get poked down, half health or so. Pagu finally gets into Immortality, though.
Oh, man, Kyrie, man, Hirara is such a busted hero. So many cooldowns. It's like, it feels like she's got 6 abilities sometimes, but...
She's not Suyo.
Yeah, she's not Suyo. Even though she has more abilities than Suyo at level 2 compared to level 3, you know, no big deal here. I can't wait for 4 abilities at level 1. Eventually we're going to get there. But the scary thing about it is that Kyrie understands that he's allowed to actually take the first move. Because until we see the trigger being pulled by Lunar, they know that Aurora ain't really in it. Their hearts aren't in it to go for the all-out fight without that condition. And as long as Kyrie has iframes to play with, he can do this all day, all night.
Yeah, it almost feels like Aurora Gaming's it's still used. Glorious Pathway, they're going right for Kelra, okay. They get an Avatar of the Guardian out, plus the Flicker. Burnt from Kelra. 10 seconds for this Lord to come up. I would say that's value for Aurora.
That's a lot of value, actually. Wait, I want to see what Onyx is going to do after this, right? Because now that Carol doesn't have his flicker, Winter Crown is going to get purchased here. Let's see if they correct the waves, because unless they can correct the waves, bot side is on a slow push, mid is neutral, top side is getting corrected by Aurora. And I think that Onyx, despite having a 6.9k lead, I don't know if Kelra has enough money to go for an item swap after that.
Yeah, this might be one of those cases where, again, you just delay this as much as you can here. If they can. Okay.
Lutpi having to use his ult. And Kyrie still dancing around. Yeah, they're not going to do much about this. And I think that Aurora recognized that, you know what? As long as Kelra ain't showing himself and he doesn't have that flicker, it's not that big of a deal. Take away our purple. We don't care about this. Look at that top side. It's already shoving in bot side as well. Kirara shows up and now Aurora takes the space.
Oh! Rosa goes in with a flicker, but Sans able to react in time. That setup not going to follow through. Now Lunar, unbreakable taunted. He's going to take a shot. Here, couple marks. They have to back off, though. This isn't the fight they wanted. Avatar to the Guardian, not going to connect, but it's Pagu. Immortality pop. This should be a kill for Onyx. He goes in with the flicker. Wrath the Dryad drops down. Kyrie gets a kill, but Sigibone fires back. With a crown already used. They're in it for now. TNZ, Immortality. They're going to chase him down. He has nowhere to go as Onyx wins the team fight. He'll start up the Lord.
Great reaction time coming in from Sans. If he died there, I think that could have been it. It could have been the turnaround that Aurora were looking for. But that's what I'm telling you. That glorious pathway is the key to everything right now. A beautiful rotation from Kyrie alongside with Kelra to open up a different angle and forcing Pagu into a pretty awkward position. But you can tell that Sigabum, Keyboy, he's eating so many shots from Sigabum. It takes way too long.
Well, they're in the pace. They took out Rosa. Now Sigibum trying to get some revenge here. Kyrie has an immortality. He's got enough work to room with. Oh, Sigibum! Nowhere to go. Double for Kelra. That is it. It's going to take us to a game of 5 in this matchup with Onyx in Aurora Gaming.
Are you not entertained? We finally get a full series here in our playoffs. Great job as Onyx pulls it back to match point 2-2. These teams are so equally matched in so many different ways. The slightest advantages in the drafts is a make it or break it. And I think Rosa is probably thinking to herself, man, if only I didn't have to recall at level 1, this could have been different.
It's kind of like what happened to Sans in the last game and how things fell apart for Onyx in game 3, but they made the adjustments and they executed well. Again, yeah, you said it, Gideon. It's so well matched here between these two. I mean, both teams have really surprised us, especially, I think, everybody when Aurora Gaming came through, swinging through, the group stages. But Onyx themselves have adapted so well, not just in the draft, but in the execution here. There's plays and highlights across the board with this lineup as we look at the highlights here from STC. It was just from start to finish. I mean, this is also our longest game throughout the series, I believe.
Yes.
The 20-plus minute mark here. But talk about the team fighting prowess from both these teams.
Oh, so much. There's so much to kind of cover here, and especially with Kelra's overall performance, you would imagine that at some point, Kelra would have started to struggling against the frontliners of Pagu alongside with Lunar, but their eyes are not targeted towards Kelra sometimes. Sometimes, when you're finding these neutral objectives, you're looking at the enemy jungle, and moments where they finally put their attention on Kelra is when he doesn't have that flicker. Step 1, get his battle spell out. Step number 2, can we also catch Kyrie in these moments? And if we can, that's fine. Let's just take out Kelra, guaranteed.
Oh, again, there were so many good plays like this. That Winter Crown usage from Kelra, able to go ahead and cap out the torn apart memory. Just the coverage that he had, too, from Keyboy and Sans. I mean, Keyboy's job alone was so difficult. I mean, it wasn't like he was landing all these Avatar of the Guardians, but he was still providing space for Kyrie and Kelra to move around with. Luppi was doing the same thing, just not as flashy, obviously, on Uranus, but still providing so much value for these team fights.
But Luppi is literally the border of their territory. Wherever Luppi is, they cannot walk past him, and that's so frustrating because Sans can cover so many different angles at once. Well, I don't want to go further into this. I got to save it over for our panel as we throw it back to Rain Day. What do you think about this game?
Well, what else can you think when a crowd erupts here in Paris because Onyx have tied up our series, our first full-length best of 5, and what better teams to have it with. Aurora Gaming, potentially the new boss. Onyx says, wait, don't forget about us. Indonesia's last hope now has tied it. One game will decide who goes forward and if Onyx will have a chance to defend their 2023 championship, or if we will see MSC with a new champion crown later on. Rain Day back with Brig and LaFell. Guys, that was something worth talking about because that was our longest game. That was also a game that saw so many moments that still could have shifted towards Aurora, but Onyx finally tied it up. Brig, I said I would have loved to see what would have happened if we got another game in that best of 3. Onyx seemed to have an answer. Every time Aurora strikes back, they strike them again.
Yeah, I wonder if Onyx have ever played the game where you just have to like catch these falling sticks and collect all of them. At least like all of them, like there were
That's a good question.
Because like the reaction times that they had in this game were ridiculous. You saw the highlights. You saw that one Winter Crown play from Kelra, and buy and sells everywhere from both of these teams.
Now, honestly, that's a very good point because that's the point that I was gonna make because Onyx is known as the Sky Kings, and the reason why they got that moniker before is because of their incredible reaction time, right? We've seen multiple clips coming in from Sans where an engage came out of nowhere, right? In the bush, and he was able to react to it. And I gotta say, this is where all 5 members of Onyx understanding that we were selected to be a part of Onyx because of our reaction time, and they utilized that to the fullest against Aurora here. So talk about going back to your identity. They just go back to their unfair advantage that they were born with.
And the Gatakacha also kind of opened things up towards the end. I think they gave themselves enough engage and counter-engage there alongside the Uranus to open things up for Zushin. The Harara looked better, and Kyrie was getting some big moments. Brig, you felt like you wanted to answer on that as well. And Kelra also on the Brody, it worked.
It's comfort on top of the fact that they just really stuck with their strengths. And it's something we've been asking for them, and now you see it to its fullest potential, brought to us by Onyx here through their sheer gameplay. I loved how they individually were able to really shine in terms of what you really want to see from them. They've made things a lot more difficult for Aurora too, I'd say, because naturally, if you look at their heroes, you really want to go for either Kelra or maybe even Sans, probably the squishiest heroes, especially if you're Rosa on the Eudora, but Sans, a pretty tanky hero himself, and even Kelra taking advantage of the range and maybe doubling down on it because it was also a relatively early pickup on the Malefic gun, I believe, that he decided to go for. So that just granted him a lot more room to play around with, less threat because he could just keep attacking from a distance. And so you saw Rosa having to really commit to the flicker a couple times if they really just wanted to go for a pickoff. But even that wasn't a guaranteed kill because a lot of times you had to deal with the reaction time. And the reaction times, again, were ridiculous. They always had a way to come back from these attempts that Aurora wanted to do. And man, Onyx fans, they're all happy. They've, as you mentioned, erupted here after we got the Secure Game 5.
It was a really fun moment to be in this building. It reminded me yesterday of Team Falcons PH taking the win. Those fans erupted as well. We had vitality in them going back and forth here at the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet. But when it comes to Onyx, there's just something special about the way that this team is operated. And I feel really strongly that both teams now, there is no advantage in the draft that they're giving away. There is a difference. There are strengths and weaknesses, but it feels like both teams have been able to play, and it is coming down to those mechanical things, those small moments, LaFell, and moments that Gideon and Nice were trying to focus on. You were watching as well on stage. What did you focus on that helped Onyx tie this back up?
Well, honestly, this is going to be very technical, but Onyx really utilized the map alongside with their unfair advantage of having incredible reaction time because we'll be seeing clips later on of how Onyx, they decide where they fight. And they fight around the river, which is an open space where they try to bait out Pagu, right? Like, we're going to be looking at a telestrator here because looking at the draft, there's really not a lot to discuss here because this is not simply just about the draft, but really how you utilize it, right? So the draft is just showing up here, but this is something that we see Onyx has been doing over and over again. We're going to be playing this clip here. We're going to look at Pagu, Flicker, and then Initiate. But look at every positioning coming in from Onyx. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at how spread they are. And they've been doing this the entire game because going up against Aurora. Midnight, as the coach, probably taught them the Ube strat, which is the ultimate bonding experience, which basically means you're clumping up together. You know, someone is going to start a fight, and then everyone follows up. So how do you stop that? Don't clump up. We will be looking at other clips here, and this is just to show again the positioning of Onyx compared to the positioning of Aurora. Look at how they isolate Pagu, and then Pagu forcibly tries to start a fight, and look at how everyone just disengages. And here's the thing, this draft, Rainday as well as Brig, not everyone can use, because Brody, by all means, should have been caught multiple times, but because this is Kelra is just special. This is the moment where we see they do not have an open space. We'll be looking at how
They try to catch him right there.
exactly, because by this time they understand the timers. Because if we look at Brody here, Kelra, he does not have the flicker. And this is why I say not every person could use Brody in this capacity, because he doesn't have a lot of escape tools. Once he goes in here, see, this is the positioning that Lunar was waiting for, right? We see that Kelra is cut off. You can see that this area here is a very close area, making it so that it's very easy for Aurora to hit their abilities, but more importantly, not a lot of space for Onyx to escape. This is where we see they just go all in. The moment they got Kelra, there's not much that they can do. This is the rare time that we see Onyx clumped up, and that's why they lost. And then again, look at here. We see that all the focus is on Kelra again, because he is supposedly one of the easiest members of Onyx to catch. And yet, when we zoom out, we see that even though they engage Winter Crown into flickering out, and then eventually we even see the Gatakacha ulting on top of Kelra just to provide him that heal. So this is what Onyx did. They understand habits. Aurora has a habit where either Pagu or Sigibum or even Lunar, depending on the draft, one of them will start the fight. In this one, it's pretty obvious it's going to be Pagu on that Belric. So as long as you're able to spread out, you bait out the ult, they can re-engage. That's also another thing that we got to talk about the draft. Having the Zushin, the Uranus, as well as the Herrera. One of the best things about them is that they can get out of a fight and they quickly go back in.
Go ahead. I mean, what were we going to respond to that with?
No, I think, if you look at it, at first it looks great. At least Aurora are always, based on that, if you observe, on the same page.
Yeah.
They know who they really want to prioritize and target, and they don't have as much disconnect as I think we've observed from a lot of teams here in MSC. But there should be like backup plans, and there should be other angles that they play around with. If that Pagu flickered Wrath of Dryad combo has been read out multiple times already.
But the problem is, I feel like they understood they got to get Kelra. Again, this is why Kelra is the gold standard. This is why his name was also mentioned as one of the best that the game has ever produced. Like, by all accounts of logic, he should have died many times.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you become champions, right? You got to define the logic. You got to define the expectation. Just because my character dictates I can't do it, if I'm using this character, I'll find a way.
That's how you become bigger than the draft and bigger than the character, the hero, the game itself. You become somebody that obviously deserves these superstar fans as well. But speaking of superstars, we've got the junglers going head-to-head. It is an amazing day to witness some matchups that you cannot get anywhere else. TNZ and Kyrie, we talked about them. TNZ, phenomenal on Aurora Gaming. Kyrie having a great response, however, and actually winning, not only in turtle kills, but lord kills, damage dealt, and of course 8-0-4 in this last matchup. And the Herrera against the Paquito, it makes me wonder, LaFell, if it's not just a Paquito, it is really looking at, well, maybe we need that Paquito in gold, maybe EXP.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you in gold, because this is the last chance.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna go home.
Yeah.
Right? Both these teams are showing grand finals performance.
They are.
So I feel like for Aurora, win or lose, you gotta get Sigibum on that Paquito if possible, because TNZ is a great jungler, but we can definitely see Sigibum on that Paquito is something else.
Yeah, it's a really good comfort pick that I feel like wouldn't make Kelra as comfortable, supposedly.
I agree.
Because earlier into the Harith, I feel like Kelra is just so aware of that matchup already. Yeah, he already knows how to play around the Harith, and he also himself masters the Harith well enough. But Sigibum on a Paquito is a different beast.
And Freya.
on Freya, and that too. So the fighter matchups, having Aurora get that, and maybe seeing Tianzi on a different, maybe not the Lucas, if it's not really something that they
Just
could
assassin, not a
work, just
fighter.
an assassin.
Could be interesting.
That's maybe them playing to their strengths.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. Draft coming up in just a moment. Until then, we want to send it over to an announcement about Street Fighter. They're actually playing Street Fighter at EWC right now on the Alliance stage. However, in-game with MLBB, you have a chance to play Ryu, Ken, and a cool Street Fighter matchup in your games.
Thinks he can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing. Let's go!
Tyler 1, you're done.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
Well, above the clouds, there's Onyx. You could hear the chants coming out, and you could see the fans just resetting. Lafel?
Yeah, we can hear the atas langit ada Onyx.
We're here.
Onyx.
They feel it happening.
Di atas langit ada Onyx. Here's the thing. I feel like for both teams, in terms of the draft, they got to stick to their guns.
Yep.
Kelra has to stick with the marksman. Sigibum has to stick with the fighter. And then this small adjustment might be too risky, which is what Aurora has been doing is trying to target Kelra.
Yeah.
But time and time again, Kelra has been outplaying them.
Yeah.
So either double down and make sure Kelra will never escape an attempt, or avoid him altogether. Shut down Kyrie, shut down Sans, and hopefully that's enough.
Shut down someone else if it's not working against Keller anymore. But yeah, I agree that maybe and hopefully we get to see them just stick with the heroes that have been working out best for them. But I'm also worrying because at the same time, I think it's going to be Aurora in blue this time.
Yeah.
Not unless they decide to go red. Because
most likely.
earlier it was Onyx on blue, but every single time they went for blue, it's not like they go pick up the Paquito first.
Right.
They don't really go prioritize that hero despite it being open in first pick. There are a lot of other options which could be left open still. The Hirara's still there. The Freya potentially even might be still there, but that's also something that could work out for them, honestly. So
yeah.
I think the sides are really going to be important. There you go. Aurora does go to blue and the Paquito is still open. So that's a question mark for all of us right now. But the trend says, okay, never mind. Let's just take out all Sigibum's hero, you know?
And that's smart. I mean, we knew that was going to be something Aurora valued. And now it does do two things. We could see, and we're not even going to go into it. It's Aurora first pick from Aurora. So Onyx have a chance to respond. Beleric available. Barat's still available.
Yeah.
Zushin not available here, banned out. So that won't be a factor, which has been played 2 games in a row by Onyx.
Yeah. I think they're going to opt for those power picks still. Safe picks and, as you've mentioned. But the Beleric Plus is supposedly the way to go, at least.
That's a good pick.
Oh!
And a Fanny.
Take the Barats as well as the Fanny. Barats is one of the counters towards the Fanny. Now, I want to see whether Aurora, in terms of gold lane, Melissa and Moskov can deal with the Fanny, but if you want to go fighters, maybe the Ruby.
The Ruby's the next one.
Probably Ruby, but the thing is, Ruby has been changed so that she is only really strong when her HP is low enough so that she has a lot of heals. But if you burst her down so that she can't heal fast enough, that's kind of GG's.
Could be risky there. Does that feel like the right trade?
That will mean putting Sigiboom on a marksman though, so they just don't reveal their gold laner altogether. They go for the Cho and this time the Uranus. I think at least the matchup will be kinda guaranteed for Aurora in the EXP lane.
Not gonna lie, I'm liking Onyx opener a little bit more here.
Yes.
Because even though Cho, on paper, in theory, can catch the Fanny, we've seen the reaction times of the players of Onyx.
Yep.
I feel like it's going to be difficult. I really feel like it's going to be difficult to catch this Fanny. So he might have to target someone else.
And that someone else could be either Pelra or Sans, but I don't think you could even count on them to be the best targets. If Sans gets his hands on a high mobility mid laner, which I think a couple are still out there, we still have the Valentina. I was supposed to mention it. Yep, does get picked up. So it won't make things any easier now for whoever you want to target as Pagu on the Cho.
This might sound crazy. If anytime Aurora brings a fighter mid, this might be the game. Bring either Ruby mid, or they bring out the Rafa or Matilda this time, because Matilda does have the damage to deal with the Fanny and able to lock down as well. So Aurora, if there's any time to bring out a surprise, this is definitely one of them, because the heroes that they have right now doesn't necessarily answer the questions that Onyx is showing. The fact that they have the Valentina can steal away the way of the dragon from the Cho makes it so that they can kick this Uranus, they can kick the Herrera, maybe even whatever hero Sigiboom opts for later on will get caught as well. So,
I mean,
Onyx has a good opener here.
I know that this hasn't necessarily been the hot pick, even though they kind of started off with this tournament as bringing it into the meta with Eudora. I feel like a kick into a stun is pretty guaranteed if you're trying to isolate this fight. We saw the Fanny with Arrow 404 earlier series, Team Vamos. He was fantastic, but they still lost that game because they basically made the fight about everything but the Fanny until the Fanny showed up. And so if you can isolate someone very important with that show, capitalize on it. We know Aurora likes that. Maybe there's an answer there, and they just deal with the Fanny whenever she shows up.
That can be. Hopefully just a bit not too much of a reaction just towards the Fanny pick if they really go lock down the Eudora and the Cho combo together. Because if you do decide to go for that route, that might be the safest, yes, because the fighters in the middle lane option that we talked about previously is something you really have to consider, because if your ultimate is a big ultimate, then I think Onyx would just equally benefit from that too, because they have their hands on the Valentina. So if we, let's say, consider the Ruby in mid, then I think Onyx would be just as happy with that to layer it together with the Barrats and whoever Kiboy would eventually pick up here in the draft. So Aurora have to be very particular with this.
The other thought is, how much pressure are we putting on Barretts? We know that when Lunar can win that EXP lane, it helps them win very early. It's possible that we see a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not about the draft anymore.
No.
Like, there's only so much the coaching staff can do. Now it's 100% on the players.
Gotta make sure the execution goes smooth for Aurora this time, going for a very standard draft. But for Kiboy in Rome,
Gato was good. I like the counter.
yeah, Gato can be.
Minotaur's banned. Atlas banned. Belleric still available, right? That could also be an option.
Honestly, yeah, Belleric can still be an option, because for now, I feel like for Onyx, almost any pick in the Rome can really help them out here. And there you go. They pick up the Belleric. Also kind of good going up against the Claude, Uranus, Cho. So
who do they want to pick up? Who does this Cho work against on the side of Onyx? Who's the priority?
No one.
No one. So that's
if you can catch Fanny, great. But
wow,
I don't know about that.
At best, probably just disrupt. Because Onyx will just go all in the team fights.
Who are you leaning towards, guys? Final game.
I'm leaning towards Onyx.
I have to go for Onyx.
Onyx. Wow. Indonesian champions in 2023 trying to go back and win in the semifinal. Aurora trying to prove that they deserve to be on the main stage. It's one game away that decides it. A best of 5 turned into a best of 1. Aurora Gaming versus Onyx Turkey versus Indonesia. Let's send it back over to our casters, Gideon and Naisu, for Game 5 at MSC.
Two teams walked into this arena at the Esports World Cup thinking that they could make some life-changing money. Now they put it all on the line as both teams have pushed it to match point. A single mistake, a single good play could be the difference between a lot of cash here. But now let's jump right into this game as the Land of Dawn has already blessed us with a beautiful series.
And even this draft, Gideon, for Game 5 brings us, I feel like, back to the fundamentals, you know, for the most part. Even if you look at Aurora Gaming lineup, our panel talked about it. There's no more things surprising yourself in the draft. It's pretty standard. There's only so much that the coaching staff can do. It comes down to that execution. Onyx on the same foot. Pick up some of their best heroes across the lanes here. Again, to see potentially Kyrie on this Fanny and Kaura having the Harith here, there's something that can be said for the movements, the way they move around the map alone can set things in pace.
Let's set the stage here because so far, Aurora, you can tell that top side is definitely going to be their strong side. Lunar playing a much better game this time around, not having to deal with the Esmeralda, but against the Barats, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of outmaneuver and control this lane better, especially since it's a no-go lane. Nobody's going to die here. There's nothing to worry about. But on the bottom side is where it gets interesting. And I was wondering in the draft whether or not, you know, this Cho was going to be the difference maker.
Yeah.
Both sides had to take Purify in this case, so it's a general neutral lane. But knowing Sigibum, he's played this matchup against the Harith many, many times before in the previous year.
We can see this pressure already on these green camps of Kyrie. Pago takes some shots here. Quarter of the health, he's going to have to get on out of there. This is one of the difficult things for Pago to deal with. You know, when asked the question, who's the best target for those kicks? Who's the best person to go for? And honestly, it's Kyrie, but as mobile as a Fanny is, that's a tough task to take here. First turtle up for grabs. Onyx going to start it up. Lunar kind of gives that information, but TNZ's not anywhere near it. So first objective, turtle, going on it.
They're just uninterested. There's just no reason to fight for it as of right now. Not until they have that kick to start developing a dedicated lead. And Ionic recognized this, right? Sans immediately takes the way of the dragon on their side in case they could find a moment to snowball this even further. The mid duos have been doing really, really well and have adapted a lot throughout the matches. Now they're going to go down towards their insurance policy. Carol getting a really good freeze here onto Sigibum. And this is where it starts to get dangerous, right? If Sigibum unfortunately uses his BMI too early, there's a chance he gets run down by Kelra with the Zaman Force.
It's almost to me on the other side. Loop using the flicker. Daytona's welcome into the wall. There's the follow through. Nice kick from Sans into the turret. First blood for Kyrie. They find 2. Now they're looking for a third. Luna trying to get away here. He's got a sliver of health. Jump back in. There's the counter punch. Taking out Kyrie and Pagu with the G Kundo. Will be able to get away. No follow through damage. It's a trade. The 2 for 2.
God, that was hot. Pagu, what a, wow. Let's look at this one more time because again, the play coming in from Sans was good, right? He flickers on over to guarantee the kick to the right side, but that third hit of G Kundo, breaking it up at just the right time, allowing Lunar to survive this, and also using his Purify. He probably should have used it slightly earlier, but it doesn't matter. He got the damage off of his shield, and even for Onyx side, they don't mind this trade at the end of the day. So what if Lunar gets it? We'll eventually be able to deal with it later down the line. So for now, those who found the kills have the money to go even further. TNZ and as well as Kyrie dead even right now, but only a slight lead, 1 level lead for TNZ.
I wonder how many times Sans will try to replicate that. You know, take the kick, take that way of the dragon from Pagu, utilize the kick himself, or does he take something else? You know, between Rose's ultimate, that Thundering Wrath can be beneficial too. So Sans will have his work cut out from him, but like we just saw, pretty good here. Skypiercer now picked up for TNZ, the second turtle coming through.
All right, TNZ has to play for cleanup here. They can initiate, walk back, wait for a little bit, and then clean up later. Kyrie, he's got the Heptaseas already ready to go, and he wants to make sure that when he gets on top of a target, that target dies straight away. So now you can see that at least from between Onyx and as well as Aurora, they're constantly trading. They're constantly trading the HP.
Okay, again, Way the Dragon held on by Sans. There's the Daytona's welcome. You know, right on the mark. Kyrie coming through. Consecration already going to be used. Quarter the health on the Turtle. TNC will secure it. Fight breaks out. Blazing duet, not enough. Keyboy will fall, and then another trade. Kelra has some space to work with. A whole lot of battle spells used up as well. And TNC will get away with the iframes here on that Hirara.
He's dancing around here. Kelra playing a dangerous game. You could tell by that positioning. Unfortunately, the Zaman Force might not be enough there. Onyx now trying to set something up. They want to see Sigaboom, but they don't notice him just yet. He's hiding in the bush, and the denial of information has caused Onyx to give up on the dive.
Okay, they're going to get forced out of there. They wanted to make a play, but luckily Sigaboom has that protection. Pagu, there's the kick right on cue. Purify's still available. Now it's Pop. Kyrie joined the fight, swinging on through, gets stunned, Thunder and Wrath down. Pagu trying to get away, burns the flicker. He will survive. Neither team falling in the exchange bottom.
You can tell how antsy both sides are. Sigaboom luckily doesn't get his recall canceled, but that will mean that bottom tier 1 is under threat. They are willing to trade topside, but at least from Kyrie's POV, easily is able to dodge out of the right ability. Sans, does he get the turret? Oh, it's almost. One auto attack. It's as good as gone.
Yeah. Take a little bit longer to take that one down, but pretty much Onyx just trying to find what they can across the map here. It's really neck and neck in Game 5 so far, Gideon. Again, this is exactly how you want this series to pan out here. Neither team really pulling the switch just yet. Pedal to the metal, but right now it's going to be a tier 1 that falls on our side. Whoa, already some pressure there. Rosa burning the flicker to survive. Actually, Sans burning his flicker, and now trying to secure that purple buff. They do just that. Pagu forcing himself outside of the jungle. So this is just a battle for buffs and just tier 1s.
And you know that Hirara generally has a bit of an advantage in these moments, especially with slight leads on their sides. Best part yet, the iframes making it even harder, especially since you can control the timing of when you decide to drop down that falling maple. In the meantime, though, as we can see Aurora alongside with Onyx contesting for the space at this point. The main contestant is having control over this mid lane. If we see TNZ make a mistake here, luckily he doesn't walk into the lane, goes for the Lethal Wanderer instead and let Sigaboom actually absorb this wave. Onyx miss out that opportunity.
Okay, waiting patiently here too. Last turtle of the game. 1 for 1 across both sides for this objective. Onyx will play it a little bit slow. Keyboy waiting, he's got a flicker available. Conceal going to be used. He's going to force the fight for this third turtle anyway. They get stunned in their tracks. Kyrie jumping through, takes the turtle away. Daytona's welcome. Into the wall he goes, and Rosa's gone. Now Pagu, nowhere to run either as he's collapsed down by Onyx. They got the objective and the kills.
That was a hot play coming in from Onyx. It felt calculated beginning to end. The timing of Keyboy utilizing his Wrath of the Dryad, not to mention just an amazing flicker Detona's welcome right onto Rose's face. Nothing they could do at that point. They reached, they grabbed, and they caught the ball out of the air from Aurora. Let's look at this replay one more time, because as Kyrie makes this play, it catches afterwards, but it catches just enough. With Rosa already down in TNZ, having no combo points to actually go into his iframes, literally nothing you could do there.
That's the thing too. The fact that it's broken walls and you have this fanny, you can utilize that little extra opening on these turtle pits or eventually the Lord pits, something that you can do here. So Kyrie can kind of just swing on through into those fights, following through the Wrath of Dryad. They're going to do it again onto the tier 2. Already forcing the fight, and Sigaboom is gone. Where did he go? And Lunar to follow. A double for Kyrie. And now TNT waiting for the rest. Wrath of Dryad puts the top, lines him up. Triple kill for Kyrie, making a possible maniac on the fanny.
Woo! A statement being made by Onyx right now as they're looking to crack open bottom side tier 2, and they've evened out this score. 3.2k lead in their hands. Things are getting extremely dangerous for Aurora. Sigaboom, he's got to be careful here. That BMI is literally his only lifeline. Just watch. As soon as the BMI drops, you see that Kelra said, hell no, we dive in this. We're sending the goon squad to take him out.
And they line this up so well for the whole team, but for Kyrie just to make those plays again on this fanny. How do you keep track of them? I mean, we've asked the question all darn MSC. How do you keep track of Aurora? Well, when you put the fanny in the hands of someone like Kyrie or any of these specialists, this is what you have to deal with too. It feels like its own iframes.
It's tough. It's really tough. Kyrie has been playing a really strong game here. Those cables have been ultra accurate at dodging some key abilities from the side of Aurora. Even Lunar, I think he can't be that frontline that they're hoping that he can be right now. He hasn't won his lane hard enough. And with the 8 extra assists, well, technically 5 extra assists that Lutfi has been able to gain for himself and to chastise Waldron, he is so thick. Luckily, Lunar is able to get one of his own.
This Lord is being started up here. Holding it at half health. Onyx with a clear lead. They have control of this. They might be able to just go ahead and secure this. It looks like they are going to do just that as Tienzia is up top. They have the information, and Onyx will play around now with this first Lord secured.
Mitrio has been playing a phenomenal game here for the side of Onyx. And unfortunately, for the side of Aurora, they've missed their window to develop their snowball even further. With the Maniac being given over to Onyx's side, resetting them from all that early game pressure that they were applying. Now they have to hope that Sigaboom gets the right items at the right time here, because Tienzi can only do so much. He's so close to finishing the Golden Staff.
So close here. Lord slowly approaching that bottom side. Again, with this kind of lead, Sigaboom just needs more time. He just doesn't have enough firepower here. And if they take out Rosa, so much damage of this profile for Aurora Gaming is expended. And they slowly walk this one in. This Lord coming down to this bottom side. Keyboy popping the conceal, looking for a potential flicker play. Lord's going to go ahead and charge into the base turret. They already popped off some damage, trying to keep them at bay, and Lunar has to disengage. They just want to clear out this Lord. They want to hold on to these base turrets. Kelra jumping in with his Almond Force, pushing him off the turret just to secure it. And now Onyx will go ahead and call it off. They look for more space turrets. Up top, Kyrie, Tienzi holding it in bay. They hold on to 2 base turrets for now.
Onyx right now just aren't falling for any of the typical tricks. They're going to lose another shielding here. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. Onyx have set this up for a final push with the next Lord. If they can... wait, do they have the ult? They do!
Charge in. Loopy jumping in, and they still the Wrath of Dry. They're going to force the fight anyway. Loopy away. Loopy gone. And Sigaboom too. Kyrie still going. They're cut off from each other. Pagu trying to get away. Kelra, a couple shots. Still has the shield. They're so low, though. Aurora Gaming might want to punish. They're still following through. Tienzi has mobility, but they will rely on the conceal to get away.
And Sans, he's ready to intercept every single time. Onyx, they are well connected right now. And Aurora, they've tried a couple of feints here. Yep. They've tried a couple of motions where Pagu is trying to bait a reaction out of Onyx, but they're just not flinching anymore. And I think that confidence is starting to build up. It's surmounting to some real damage in Kelra. He's not dropping the ball. Same goes for Sans.
Look at the disparity of damage dealt by the key members here of Aurora Gaming. Tienzi there at the bottom, Sigaboom there at the bottom, and look at the difference for Onyx. Such a big difference in terms of damage, and that's just because of how these team fights have played out. Onyx has all the room to work with, especially for Kelra, provided by this team that Sigaboom has just been trying to catch up. And we know this, Gideon, when you are delayed this much on that power spike for the Claude, it's really tough to get back into the zone of this one.
It is hard, but at the same time, they've got some decent wave clear on their end between Tienzi, Sigaboom, and as well as Rosa. They should be the ones who are proactively trying to work together to clean these lanes, while Pagu and Lunar needs to delay lanes. On the opposite end, Onyx very happy to be in this position, you know? They still have access to those steel cables, and Kyrie can do whatever he wants. Go to top side, set up the wave, reset the Lord again. They can do this all day, all night.
They got to clear out that bottom wave here. They do just that. Half health on this Lord. Onyx has control. Looking to see if they can bait something from Aurora Gaming. Doesn't happen. So objective secured. We'll have to see Aurora Gaming's lineup if they can defend once again. Already losing 1 base turn on the last push. They maintain 2. Are they in a position to withstand another push in?
Aurora decided not to. So now that they decided to, you know what? We're going to let the Golor come in. There's a pretty good chance that they lose all their inhibitor turrets. And that's a dangerous decision to make, because all of this is so that they can get to the 42K mark where they have an option to maybe try and get a good team fight down to turn the tides. But I don't know how they're going to get neutral objectives. And until we see a full wipeout on Onyx's end, I don't think Aurora necessarily can push through just yet.
Keyboy walking in on that bottom side here. Lord already in the base. Still has a flicker available. The Lord's actually going to go down very quickly from Aurora Gaming, so they maintain it. They still have some waves pushing in. Onyx might look to take down one base turret, this mid lane, as Kelra jumps forward. Already, Rocket's gonna force the flicker out now. They're trapped under the turret anyway. Rosa's gone again, and Pagu trying to buy the time off the kick. Kyrie might chase him down. The rest of the team's gonna force the fight in the base. Kyrie joining them now. Siggy Boom with the blazing duet to clear out the lanes. They just want to stay in the game, but Kyrie keeps them together, and now they'll disengage. They still have this wave, but Onyx too low.
Oh my goodness, the item swap right at the very end there. Siggy Boom, holy cow. Holy cow. That was a dangerous moment. If it wasn't for that Rose goal, he would have died to the cutthroat coming in from Kyrie. They are out to get him.
Yeah.
The checkbox is simple. Wait for the stun to come out of Rosa. Once Tianzi is down to only one combo point, then it becomes very easy to get on top of Siggy Boom, especially since so many times he walks up to try and dish out damage to specifically Lutpian as well as Keyboy. I think that's where you see a lot of the vision starts to narrow down. He's got to open the mind back up here. He's got to look for different angles. His main concern really is going to be Kelra and Kyrie. Once those go down, there's a good opportunity that Aurora can win the fight afterwards. Win a crown purchase from Kelra to make a play of his own here, but I'm trying to figure it out. Can Rosa actually find a good opportunity to stun someone? Because Kyrie never shows.
That's such a tall task here for Aurora Gaming. Playing on the back foot the past 10 plus minutes, or essentially this whole game. They're looking for a way to potentially turn this over in their favor, but there's just so much they have to do. They're gonna go ahead and scout out. I think the main point of contention is, do they actually try to contest this Lord when it comes up? You know, it's not gonna be evolved just yet unless for some reason Onyx delays it enough to go ahead and go through that, and I fear that if it is an evolved Lord, it's going to be tough, but a look at this pressure already up top. Immortality swapped in by TNC. Wrath of Dryad used as well.
Wait.
So an attempt here, but now Onyx, what do they want to do?
Look at the coverage. Look at the coverage for Lutpi as well as Sans. Beautiful push and pull here. Kenzie able to bait out the Wrath of the Dryads, and honestly, Onyx, they don't mind. They're like, okay, sure, no Wrath of the Dryads. We want you to come to us, actually. We want you to come just when Wrath of the Dryads is about roughly 8 seconds, maybe even 12 seconds, and then we're going to dance. We're going to keep on dancing because unfortunately for you, super minions are always going to be knocking on your door, and we like to keep the porch clean.
And they got a Fanny. They can play the long lane if he wants to, right? Kyrie can go ahead, put pressure there if he needs to, but he's going to wait for this purple buff to be up. They know this Lord is up. They can delay it a little bit further if they want to. Aurora Gaming looks to go ahead and try to get in position here. I'm not sure if this is exactly what they want to do, but it just might be one last-ditch effort if they can. TNZ swinging around. Onyx knows it. Oh, the flicker forward. TNZ making his way to this fight. Can he turn it around? Pocket with the kick. It's on Kyrie. Immortality are going to be bopped. Kyrie's going to get out there. TNZ also trying to buy space, but Pagu falls, and now it's all falling apart. Winner crown with the blazing duet from Siggy Boom, but it's not enough. Kelra gets a double. Aurora, they still have TNZ up, but Lunar on the disengage. This fight might just be over. Kyrie joining the fight, cabling on through. He has what he needs. He's going for TNZ. He's got the immortality till he doesn't. And now Onyx will clean it up. And Lunar can't do anything. Onyx will move on forward with the hope of Indonesia as they douse out the lights of Aurora Gaming.
One hell of a game. And Onyx, no disappointed smiles. Everybody knew that this was going to be one hell of a game, and they find it and they break through. A crushing defeat for Aurora. God, that's the nature of competition. What a sweaty game.
What a series. 5 games for this one. Again, we wouldn't have it any other way, and man, was it a battle. And big respects here to Aurora Gaming on the innovation they brought throughout the group stages, up down here to the knockouts. And unfortunately, as the nature of competition, someone has to go home.
They push the meta forward. Was it truly their destiny to make it to the end? Onyx, take that spot. Just another light snuffed out. The Sky Kings are getting back into position for a potential grand finals here. Oh my lord. Every moment of this game felt calculated. Every moment down to the beat. Aurora looking for many different opportunities, but once they couldn't get the reactions that they wanted from Onyx, it started to become just hard, just really heartbreaking.
Oh man, again, seeing these highlights here from STC, you saw how much of a dominant early game to mid game that they had, especially with Kyrie on this Fanny. There was only so much that they could do. I mean, Pago, he even got a couple kicks on him, but the rest of the team was just scaling in their favor, and they knew how to play this composition to, you know, the best ability that we saw here. Even Keyboy on a lot of the Raptor Dryad flicker combinations he had, and even Sounds having his own kicks half the time. You know, there was just so much that was utilized here, and even down in this last fight, they just knew with Kyrie swinging on in, there wasn't much more that Aurora Gaming could do in this instance.
With two great teams with amazing chemistry, it really just comes down to who has more experience. And Onyx take it this time. We're going to be throwing it over to our winners up on stage, which Milosh and, of course, Keyboy.
They've done it again. Onyx to the semifinals. What a matchup. We all need a moment to breathe after how close that match was. Keyboy, few questions for you before your key crushing moment. Now, this is not the first time, of course, you play Aurora here at MSC 26. You lost in the group stage, you won here in knockout. Why? What was the difference between those two games?
I think in the group stage we're not ready too much because they are so aggressive and the hero is good. But now we already know how they play and we got it.
Well, you got it, but there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of effort to win that game. What do you do after game one? Because I saw how the reaction was on your faces. You went back with Coach CW. How do you reset and get back into the game?
Yeah, we just think next match the team spirit, right? Yeah, we just focus team spirit and yeah, just enjoy and reset for the next.
You have the reset for it then, and you know, you've made the knockout stage. Last year, you of course were here as well. It's semifinals again, 2 years in a row. The question is, are you ready to go deeper than that? Does that add to the pressure, the fact that you're also playing a non-SEA team that wants to get to the grand final as well?
Yeah, for us, we want to get the champion again, and we are ready to EWC here now.
Keep in mind, there's now Zara Egoist on the other side on Team Spirit. It's not the first time that you play against them. You knocked them out last year in quarterfinals. There's also Sawo on the other team. That's your counterpart in position. I mean, what's going to change compared to that last year? Are you going to finally take them down here at MSC?
Same like Aurora, we want to take the defense first. And yeah, we are ready to fight Team Spirit. Just ready, Team Spirit.
Ready for Team Spirit. I have a lot of questions for you, but a question to the Onyx fans in here. What time is it? It's Onyx time. It's key crushing time. Onyx, gentlemen, come on over. You'll get to relax plenty right after this. Now let's all go to the back. Come along. Let's go crush that Aurora Gaming key. We waited so long. What a great match that we had. Incredible best of 5. Now you get to celebrate, Keyboy. Go ahead. Go ahead, gentlemen. Come on in. Last year, Onyx made it to the semifinals. This time, they've done it again. Goodbye, Aurora Gaming. Good luck in the next one. And as the fans are cheering, and as you heard them say, thank you for letting us know where the airport is. Onyx victorious on to the semifinals. They'll be playing gatekeepers to yet another Western team, non-SEA. What happens tomorrow versus Team Spirit? We won't know for sure, but our panelists, they're going to break this match down for you.
The gold standard crushes the golden key of Aurora Gaming and sends them home one last time. As MSC continues, our semifinals are booked. And speaking of tickets booked, Aurora Gaming, yes, we'll have to get those tickets booked for the airport. It's tough to say. But at the end of the day, competition can sometimes be brutal. This one for Turkey was tough. We will see them again, and of course we will see Turkey again in Istanbul in the M Series M8 later on. But the beauty of this moment, a best of 5. Both teams have to hold their head up high, Brig, after that performance. But Onyx, man, that was fun to see.
Yeah, I was just talking to LaFell, like, this is the only match that made me post again on my social media account. And that's just the beauty of this full best-of-5 series that we really got to see between Onyx and Aurora. The development they've been through, Aurora, especially entering this competition strong, but Onyx too, they've been a bit shaky, but you see their tears of joy, you see how happy they are with the small adjustments that they did here and there.
That could be a relative.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. Aurora has been winning by basically outplaying the early game. But like Keyboy said, enough time has passed. They figure out how they move, how they draft. And even game number 5, first 2 picks, the Barat as well as the Fanny. I look at Bray look at me and I'm like, this might be GG. And we definitely saw, even at the end, you asked us, like, who's going to win this one? It's like, this on draft, Onyx won hard for that one. So
yeah,
this is probably a heavy loss for Aurora because, again, they were set up to win the entire thing. But then at the end, Onyx just outdrafted them. So this is a pretty heavy loss. And the only thing I can hope for is that moving forward in this MSC, I hope we get to see more matches like that.
Yeah.
Other games is like, we outdraft you and then we win everything. I don't want that anymore. I feel like at this point we should have all full series.
Yeah, because it feels so much more heavy because you see the attempt and the effort to really shut down certain players and heroes on Onyx side. You had a Cho, you had a Eudora, but even you asked us the question before entering the game of, who do you really try to target? Who do you try to go for? And we couldn't even just confidently say Fanny nor Kyrie anymore because you saw how they were just forced to play defensive a lot of times in that series and that they just had to scramble and find whoever they can just afford to, given how messy the team fights get. And that's really in favor of Onyx.
18-minute game. Well, when you look at that, it's probably on average the time Aurora spent in 2 games leading up to this. 9-minuters are what they were known for. And now, kind of shocked. Definitely a favorite coming into this. But against Onyx, it was tough to call them a favorite. And the little things, that was the theme of today, make a big difference. And the fandom, the fan bases, not just from Team Spirit, but also for Onyx, might have been that little thing, that little bit of confidence in an even match.
No, it's 100%. I mean, like today, the team with the better crowd won the game.
Yeah.
And yes, both teams are amazing, but yeah, sometimes that extra support, just to give you that self-confidence that even Brick was saying, like, you just got to have more self-confidence in this matchup. And then who had that just ends up winning it all.
Believe in yourself. And I think Onyx did. Eventually, I mean, in the beginning, there was a bit of a test to try and go out of comfort. You saw that.
I mean, here's the thing. It's rare that we see Onyx being this happy because most of the time when they win, it's a stomp. This is one of the rare times they had to really fight for it. And I feel like this is refreshing for them as players. Like, now there's actual competition. We have to try hard this time.
And they didn't have answers that were guaranteed. We said it came down to those moments mechanically from so many of the players, buying and selling, winner crowns, little things that made the big difference. And it was sometimes a Cho pick or a Barat's pick or a counter to one of those ISO choices, sometimes an ultimate, sometimes a flicker. That would be the difference.
Yeah. I want to...
That's got to be somebody's something.
Yeah, their wife and husband. Their
husband and wife.
Husband.
Yes, that's Coach Jets.
But
which one is which, Brig? Which one's the husband? Which one's the wife?
How do you know so much about the relationship?
We're friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Denver Miranda. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Can't forget about that last sequence too. Keller was just looking at the fans. You were talking about the fans, and he was just telling them to keep the energy. Just keep going, continue, and go cheer. It was a moment that you saw how Keller was very locked in and how satisfied he was after winning that game. Same for Keyboy, and they were just right next to each other. And the entire crowd too. I could see like a lot of the members of the Onyx crowd just probably being very anxious about what's going to happen, and probably like they're not as capable of saying anything anymore because the fight was just that close. So congratulations to Onyx for really putting on such a great show. And Aurora, it's been so close. I feel like they've gained at least...
I feel sad for them.
Yeah, I feel like they've gained at least thousands more fans.
Oh, yeah.
Like after this.
And they gained prestige because I think coming into this tournament, they certainly set the tone. The Eudora, for the first few days, the group stages, the way that they introduced the Rafaela, the Selena, which was banned out every single game, by the way, was not able to be used by Rosa, set the tone of MSC. They have left their mark, and it feels weird that they only top 8. It feels like a top 4, maybe top 3 team. But Aurora is out, and we had a chance to catch up with Midnight in an exit interview on how he's feeling.
We are now backstage with Coach Midnight. Very valiant effort. Nice try, Coach. What do you think happened in that whole match?
I think Onyx played a good game. They were really prepared coming into knockouts. And yeah, that's just it. You know, when they catch up, they're a good team.
Was that something that you weren't expecting?
We expected it would be a tough series, but we knew that we could win. But I guess, you know, we just lost.
So did you think it was them just being the better team today? Or was it some errors on your part? Was it maybe draft, execution, something along those lines?
Yeah, there were a couple of mistakes from our side, even drafts. We tried to be creative and we pushed the boundaries of the meta, but I feel like Onyx synergy was just, very hard to break considering that they played together for a long time. So, yeah.
I mean, you made waves around MSC, so many crazy picks, so many things happening throughout. But at the end, did you think that was just not enough? Did you think the meta was a little bit pushed in a certain way?
I'd say it could still be pushed more, but again, this is where you see the difference between top teams and other teams. The synergy is just at a different level. Even though we played a close game against Onyx, I just feel like they just performed better as a team today.
Okay, so they performed better as a team. The synergy was a little bit too difficult. But Coach, what are you going to tell your players after this?
I mean, that's just the nature of the competition, and the job's not done. We still have a lot of tournaments to look forward to, even M8. And I feel like we're in a very good place right now for the team, for the players. So yeah, we just move on with life and look for the next thing.
How is everyone handling the loss?
Very normal that, everyone's disappointed a bit. It's a bit sad, but it's just what it is. It is what it is.
So we're assuming that you are going to be staying with Aurora after this. You mentioned the other tournaments that you're focused on.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, we're very excited. We're very excited what you guys can do because it was only this MSC and then you were able to do this and you're able to come this far. So Coach, do you have any message to anyone out there who supported you from day one?
To all the Aurora fans out there, I know there's also a lot of Filipino fans, Turkish fans everywhere. Thank you so much for the support. And I hope you give all the support that my players need for our upcoming tournaments because we're not done.
It was an amazing journey. Thank you so much for your participation. We are excited to see what you guys have in store for the next because now we are going to throw it over back to you guys.
Well, the day certainly set the tone for what you can expect over our next 2 days because we've got our semifinals booked. Team Spirit will move on as well as Onyx, and we will see them match up tomorrow. Actually, it may not be tomorrow. We might see Falcons PH and Yangon tomorrow. Actually, we'll see everybody tomorrow. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's the answer to my question. Team Falcons PH, Yangon Galacticos will be first. Team Spirit and Onyx will be after that. Both of those games are going to go crazy with the fans. You do not want to miss it. 12 CEST starting time as well. There's one big name in there, Team Falcons PH, from the club championship perspective. I do want to dive into what that means. Now look at these guys. They're looking good. I just got to say, they
look like they just won a best of 5.
They look like they just won a best of 5 and told me to be quiet. I didn't do nothing. Wasn't me. All right. Speaking of implications, the club championship is on the line. We got a quick update with our own Chris Tunn and Glitter Explosion.
I've escaped to the totem to come chat with Lauren. New game going on this week. One that we talk about in Warzone, of course, but real big implications when it does come down to the club championship. We got a lot of hot contenders in there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on fun over on my side of things, but we are constantly getting games where we have a lot of CC teams in the lobby. And if we're talking about storylines and how that could potentially change things this week, we've got a lot to dive into. First of all, we do have Twisted Minds in this lobby, and they are the defending champs. However, they've been pretty inconsistent over the last few lands, so there's a very big possibility that they're not able to take this one home. But then if we're talking about hometown advantage, this is where things start to get a little bit crazy, because we do have Gentlemates here, and we saw how insane it was the first couple weeks when they were here and local, and I think that hometown advantage might be big for them.
And as well, I mean, Paris and France in general loves Call of Duty titles. All the time we see them really show up for it. I remember those Gentlemates fans being loud in Riyadh, never mind when we were in Paris.
Exactly, so it could be even crazier. Hopefully it gives them a little bit of a boost. But then finally, we of course have Falcons, the team that needs the win for CC. And this actually could be the game they get it in. They've got Hisoka, the best player in the world in Warzone, and they are definitely a favorite to win the whole thing.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. I think especially when it does come down to Falcons, faltered last year, didn't play to their potential, but this is a big opportunity for them to get the win on the board. Lauren, I'll be checking in with her the next few days. We've only got a couple more days, but I'll be getting as much as I can out of you by the time we finish things up. Thank you very much, Lauren, guys.
Talking some Call of Duty. Those both know what they're doing. Big shout out to Lauren as well. Been fun. Haven't seen her since week 1 of Apex, but she's been doing a great job alongside Chris, keeping us updated. Here are your club championship rankings, powered by Aramco. Thank you, Aramco, for setting us up with this. Not as sincere, still in the lead. These will potentially change a lot. Obviously, Street Fighter's got some great representatives going on. We've got Falcons still alive here. You see, they were actually at, I think it was 1,200. They've jumped up a couple hundred points. They're still in 6th place, but looking at the way that Vitality is no longer in this, Aurora Gaming just went out. They were hoping to get some more points from this. Team Falcons got to be happy that they have a chance to move up this leaderboard with tomorrow's game. That'll be the last, the first game actually that we see tomorrow, guys. So that'll be exciting. Brig, LaFell, as we see hugs, Kiboy hugging a most likely partner there, or dear friend, sister.
Not sister, I think.
Somebody that he loves. Maybe not. Hold on, maybe not. Okay, I think that's...
You can't...
I don't know.
I mean, I guess you can kiss your sister like that.
You sure can. Shout out to my sister as well. She just had a baby. So congratulations. New Rainer in the family. Shout out.
Shout out to the gender
Robert
that can
Brooks.
dish out babies.
Huh? Yeah, dishing out babies. MLB, that's what it stands for. Right?
Yeah.
ML babies. MLB babies. A new league coming out. Get them ready. I think it's too early for phones, though, by the way, guys. Final thoughts, Brig, LaFell. It's been fun hanging with you on the second half of the day.
I just hope we don't have the same pattern of our first series being a 3-0, because I don't think Falcons Spirit should end in a 3-0. I hope we all get game 5 tomorrow.
We're at the final stretch. It doesn't get easier after this, because at this point, all the teams, they're at max potential. So hopefully every single team is able to show off all of their efforts for months going into this point, because just a few days from the grand finals.
Indonesia is still alive. You've got
Philippines still alive.
Is it Myanmar or Malaysia? I'm sorry, Myanmar for Yangon Galactico. You've got Europe still alive. You've got Indonesia. You got the Philippines. You got everybody ready to throw down MLBB. It's looking like a heavyweight fight from all of us here at the desk on the production side, of course, the EFG side, and the Esports World Cup side. Thank you for watching. And you MLBB fans, you know where to find us tomorrow. We'll be live for the semifinals. My name's been Rain Day, and as always, remember to never give up, never stop gaming, and we will see you all for the semis.
went to try and get this overtime going and threaten the flip. No, it was Kellen. Right. Well, it gets his team into flashpoint, but no one's really here to help Kellen. And this is going to put Dallas Skill in disarray for the time being. Foxy, you better believe it. Annihilation going to be the answer, though. And how's Luke going to get away from this? And that's still healthy. Jimmy's quickly tends to get wounds. And now a 99 each as a flip for Team Liquid. Where are the fuel? Up on high is Kellen. He dropped down eventually, but check out that trade means that is more than just required. It is absolutely mandatory. There's Tree, nice little double off the dead eye. And now we all Shiboi, Team Liquid, bounce back late in the fight, take their second flash point. And they are keeping this series interesting. Yeah, they look awesome here, ramping the pace against the Dallas Fuel. It's Dallas, they get rid of the Lucio. And kind of all I think on a lot of this kind of competition here from Team Liquid playing this Mizuki with the Kiri. And then also just kind of protecting Kiri at all costs, getting the casting the mobility around the map. Nice chain there from Vega. Next, they actually do what's wrong with it. Yeah, Liquid here, seed and Romancha switch into them. They must be satisfied about that. Feels like a concession from Dallas. But haven't been able to make anything on the Colts work. And that here now realizes there's no fight to be won, so we'd like to be on the place at the head of the shield instead of cheating dances. And Dallas, the star of labs. Yeah, good point. And, you know, although they do kick off the fight with a kill there, two from Sunju, Camino contributing in the kill feed there with the wheel damage, then killing up the next the damage of the Tracer and pretty damage followed up by that Vermonter. So Dallas getting control of the point here first. Simwall is going to be massive here, right? Tail Blast on the other side, overclock as well. Simwall from Sarah. No support open to work with it this time. It's going to be quite huge. But Lars, watch out for this one. Sonjun is convinced everybody. Lars comes down, knocks Kimmis low. Sonjun is chained and dealt with. Not going to start this fight for Dallas, but the champion already given the 50% after staggering Team Liquid out. So a good start against themselves up, but now it's a matter of landing the flame and staying alive. Flashboy, what a shot! Terror! It's over here, the tree, the next to fall! Pimpa yells Chronic! It finds two of the most important things you can ask for. Dallas could actually take the flashpoint here, but they're going to contend now with this annihilation from attack. He's used it to get Kellen off the table. And if we're chasing some more of these elimination, Dallas get to 90% and still counting. Attack stuck with the bomb is able to mitigate some of the damage by putting up the dukes. Chronic poking at him constantly, but Liquid will be allowed to flip. Bro, those shots from Chronic were nasty. I mean, you could just see it like a little touch. Zera is head on the objective, and he just rips it right off, and they connect with Tree on the side, and yeah, not enough in the end. Right, nice little disengage away, but this vortex disrupts the shot. A lot of AoE being thrown at Dallas. Here comes Faker, charging forward. Chain already used. They are going to shove them on out if they can help it. Kellen though with the annihilation down is a little bit scary. Dallas looking to replay what was there. The Deadeye attempted to find Tree, but shut down. Cut off, interrupted. Otherwise, unable to complete it. Dallas now will be still tall on this point. And then finally get a foothold. Liquid kind of in that previous fight, the one that we just watched, we'll talk about it in a second, is take a look at the end of it. Right, the annihilation from Kellen is just too much, right? Just like gets plowed through the entire time. Liquid ends up using the Kitsune Rush, like basically with the Sanctuary right on top of it. And then that's where Dallas, like, Kellen just backs up, moves to do so, but then, ends up top of that annihilation, seals the deal for that last point. And the Vita chained up by Baker. Start Dallas here. Or not exactly how they want to run into the first sweep of this map. Soldier back out, okay. Trees back inside, Dallas to set up. There's a
Mobile Legends done.